Have you forgotten that once we were brought here, we were robbed of our nation? Robbed of our nation.
What's up everybody, and welcome to tonight's Telkom vs Gaming Masters Season 5 matchup. We have got an absolute banger on our hands. It's Goliath Gaming versus Dynamic Esports. Winner goes into top 4, loser drops into the lower bracket and faces Sinister5 tomorrow night. I'm joined by Nick. How are you doing on this fine Saturday evening, my good man?
Look, last night we were treated with a 2-0 wiping of the floor with Royalty and Sinister5, and tonight it's a bit of it's upper bracket action, but I mean, it's Goliath, it's Dynamic. We're looking at the top teams in the country, and I'm highly excited to jump into it.
Yeah, you and me both, right? I mean, whoever wins this game reaches Comic-Con Online first. They're the first team to get their name etched on the board, reach that illustrious third and final stage, which only 4 teams out of the original 18 would be able to do. So, huge game on the cards here tonight. Nobody's going to be losing their lives in the tournament, though, as well. You know, as I said, whoever loses plays tomorrow night against Sinister5 for that other spot. In the opposite side, in the upper bracket, we have Energy and ATK, who are going to be playing tomorrow afternoon. Their game got rescheduled, so whoever wins that game will also reach the top 4, and then of course there's 2 matches in the lower bracket. Whoever wins those 2 games will round out the top 4, so everything to play for. 210,000 Rand on the line. That's the prize pool that these guys are going to be fighting it out for. First place takes home 100,000 Rand, and I couldn't be more excited.
100%. I mean, Goliath is definitely in the conversation for taking home that 100k, and Dynamic is as well. I mean, both these teams, they're up there along with the best. So, I mean, they need to show up on the service tonight. And as you said, the loser drops down to face Sinister5. And we've already seen that matchup, Sinister5 against Dynamic. So, will there be a rematch of that? I'm pretty sure Dynamic don't want that to be the case. But both teams find themselves in the upper bracket. They're pretty snug. They're pretty cozy.
Yeah.
But one team, they want to stay there and they want to find themselves in the final 4.
Exactly, right? I actually had an interview with both of the IGLs from either team before this started, so I got to chat to them and hear a little bit more what they had to say, and they're actually both taking this game really seriously. You know, Goliath aren't taking this lightly at all. They're fully aware of the power and the potential that Dynamic possess, so they're not going to be taking it lightly. They want to make sure they give them full respect. He said they've done a lot of preparation for this game as well, and they are certainly keen to sort this one out. But as I said, they're not taking anything for granted. Then on the opposite side, Dynamic, they're also fully confident that they can get the win tonight and that they can secure top 4 right here, right now against Goliath. They have no doubts in their minds that they have what it takes to be competitive in this matchup. And why would they? I mean, when you have the personnel like the man, like Divo, like Heartbreak when he's popping off, like these guys are super talented individuals and have a lot of fire behind them, coupled with the teamwork that gets brought into the equation as well. You know, the likes of Nexus and Dweezil there rounding out the roster. Got a really nice balance in there as well. They've been changing their roles around quite a lot lately, you know, trying to figure out exactly what's going to work best for them. Is Dweezil going to be the IGL? Is Nexus going to be the IGL? And the man was the IGL for a period as well. They've now settled on Nexus. They've got Heartbreak in the AWPing role, which I really like. I mean, he's got the ability to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and they've got Dweezil in a bit of a lurk role. So that's the dynamic of the evening. That is how they're going to be setting up. Goliath, they don't need much introduction, do they, Nick?
Yeah, but I mean, I think we could speak hours about just who Dynamic are on the Goliath rather, and what they've achieved and how they battle up with ATK. I mean, there's names like Massacre, ADM, Cannibalistic that throw in Zip Zip and Adaro finish out the roster. But one thing that I'm excited to see is they've added a new coach, Banter. He's from the EU region. I'm not quite sure about his backstory, but what I do know is that he's definitely added to the firepower that Goliath possess on the server. Maybe playing a bit more structured, and maybe Goliath being able to be more effective in those scenarios. So I'm excited to see what sort of effect Banter's had in this roster, and ultimately how Goliath show up against Dynamic tonight. Is it going to be a wiping of the floor that we saw in groups? I mean, these two did face each other in the groups. It was a 2-0 victory for Goliath, but it is something to remember that was a 2-0 a BO2 format, so that's something to play into it. But it was still a wiping of the floor, to say the least, of Dynamic from Goliath. So that's something to keep in mind. Is it going to be a similar 2-0? Are Dynamic going to show more up tonight? I think it is going to be the latter. I think it is going to be a bit more of a closely contested battle, but I'm still I still think coming into this game, Goliath are the favorites. But I mean, as you said, Dynamic, you don't need to mention the people they've got. I think it could go. Dynamic could have a say in this matchup.
Yeah, they certainly could. Well, speaking of having a say, why don't we actually get a look in and see what one of these illustrious IGLs had to say? I'm going to start off with Nexus because he gives a bit of spice about the veto. So I'd like everybody to hear what he had to say before we actually get the veto, and not sort of like after the first map, because I'll only be playing ADM's interview after the first map. I don't want to show all my cards before we've even jumped into the first game. So I'll keep a little bit of gold content in the back pocket, and I'll bring it out a bit later. But as I said, I got a little short interview with Nexus a bit earlier. Let's hear what he had to say. Nexus, you guys placed top 3 in your group, and it was actually dubbed a bit of a group of death. You know, you guys had the likes of Energy, Goliath, WRG, XD, you know, quite formidable teams there in the mix as well. You ended up placing 3rd in the group, so you reached the upper bracket in the next stage. How did you guys feel about your performance in the group stage?
Not too bad, actually. Placing 3rd in this bracket actually put us in a really good position for like the seeding of the tournament.
That's true.
But I think we could have taken the 2nd spot if we really wanted to. Like, I would have liked to 2-0 Ian at least. Maybe take map off Goliath. But what happened? It is what it is.
Yeah.
Our group wasn't that bad. I think there were like 4 competitive teams, including ourselves. Other than that, it wasn't too terrible.
Yeah, and you also dropped that map to XD, and like that's probably, I think that's what let you down with the race against Energy as well, because you ended up 1 point behind them. So that could have been the difference. But like you said, in the end, the seeding actually worked out for you anyway. So it wasn't even like it made that big of a difference.
That was a bit disappointing, drop 1 map against them, but I think it was a good eye-opener for all the guys, and it led to some good changes being made in the team.
Okay, and actually, let's just hypothesize something for a second, because let's say you did finish 2nd in the group. You would be Energy where Energy is, and that means you'd be playing ATK tonight or tomorrow afternoon instead of Goliath. And I mean, most teams in South Africa would say that they stand a better chance at beating Goliath than they do ATK right now.
Yeah, I agree with that, because so when we were looking at the seeding, we were not too worried about losing, because we knew like either way we're probably gonna get a better seeding here.
Yeah.
If we win, we might get like the terrible seeding, but we weren't playing to lose, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. It was just like either you win and you're happy because you win, or you lose and you're happy because you get the better seeding. So it's like a win-win situation almost.
Exactly that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you guys had a good run in the group stage. Of course, for anybody who doesn't know, they made the roster changes fairly early before they jumped, like fairly soon as they were going into the events. They didn't have much time to prepare. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So now you guys find yourselves in the upper bracket in the championship elimination stage. Your first game was against Sinister5 and you beat them 2-1. Of course, there's a bit of history there between you guys. You know, Dweezil was playing for Sinister5. Diver actually played for them the whole of last year as well. Then you also had Lately, who was a part of your guys' team and went across there. You guys seem to have a bit of a rivalry going on.
Maybe a little bit, but like I said, I don't think it should be a rivalry.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the boys, all of them are insane players, and my boy Lately in there.
Yeah.
Much love. I don't think it should be a rivalry. I think every single match we should play them from now on and forward should be a 2-0.
Okay, so you guys like you certainly see yourselves like in a position where you're the superior team out of the two of them, and you back yourselves. That's good. I like the confidence.
Definitely.
Okay. So then moving on to your game this evening, you guys are playing against Goliath Gaming, who are considered as South Africa's second best team. This is the last game, actually, that if you win this, you're into the top 4. You qualify for Comic-Con Online. There's one match, the shortest possible road to the event. What do you think your chances are this evening against Goliath?
I think we're pretty decent chances. Like, obviously, we want to take this little golden road to get us to good seeding and just go straight towards the top 4 instead of like going down to a loser bracket again.
Yeah.
And I think that they're not expecting as much as they should expect to this. And
Okay.
they have no idea. They have no idea how deep our map pool actually is. I think they're
Okay.
not expecting that either.
So you
The
guys,
Vito's gonna be an interesting one for you.
okay, well, I'm looking forward to the veto, man. You and I can have a bit of a chat when the interview's done, and you can give me some inside nuggets of info that I can, use in the
some
cast.
boost.
I can sound really smart. I'm like, yeah, I'm expecting Dynamic to pull out this crazy pick, It's just like, what? Where did that guy get that info from? Okay, cool. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the game this evening. Two of South Africa's best teams going head to head. A spot at Comic-Con on the line, like it paints a really entertaining prospect. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let's just hypothesize though. As I said, if you win, you go through to the to Comic-Con online. If you lose, you drop into the lower bracket and you play Sinister5 again. You spoke about how confident you were against that team a couple minutes ago. So essentially, you don't see yourself not qualifying for Comic-Con from this point then.
Exactly. I think we're in a really comfortable position here, but we're not complacent.
Okay,
We're
good.
going for the win tonight. If we, for some reason, don't get the win, we're definitely going for the lower bracket win.
Yeah.
We're not complacent at all, but we're definitely comfortable in the position we are.
That's what I think is actually really important when you look at somebody in your position. It's like, yes, we do expect ourselves to beat Sinister5, but we haven't written it off as a win already. We know what we have to do to get the win. And that's where it's really important to make the differentiation in the mental ground, because teams who like get too ahead of themselves, like, yeah, no, we've already beaten them before they've gotten the server, can actually like end up with a bit of a surprise. So I like your guys' mentality. I like the approach, and it sounds really good. Just my next question for you guys is, what were your goals and expectations, coming into this event as a whole?
Firstly, just like getting to the first bracket, practicing some more, getting ourselves on steady ground, and obviously qualifying top 4, and then making that top 2 position.
Okay.
So, realistic expectations. ATK is a tough team to beat, and like there's always a possibility, but like they're a really good team, right?
Yeah.
But I think every other team in the top 4 is beatable for us, and we could easily take that second spot.
Okay, so top 2 is the number right now that Dynamic
That is
would be
our
really happy
realistic
with.
expectation.
Okay.
But we're going for the one, obviously.
Okay, I love it. That's great. All right, Nexus. Well, I'm just going to ask you one more question before I let you go, man. You guys made the recent roster changes. I keep calling them recent, but I mean, it must be a couple of months now at this point.
I think it's about a month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Okay,
I think
maybe 2 months.
A little bit more than that.
Brought the double Ds into the team with Divo and Dweezil, and something that I say on stream is I feel like it's increased your guys' potential ceiling like quite substantially. But you guys seem to be working your way up quite slowly. You've had to make a few changes in the system as well. Are you guys settling on something now?
Yeah, so like we had a little of a rough patch with like some unexpected results because we were kind of like finding the roles that were suiting the team and the type of play style that we wanted. So we swapped some roles. We took the Dweezil onto like more of a lurk role, me onto an IGL, and Heartbreak onto an aggressive AWP role to kind of like change the whole dynamic of the team and how we play.
Yeah.
So, we're more settled on these roles and we feel way more comfortable and confident in it. I think all the guys' mentality is in the right place as well right now.
Okay, that's awesome, man. That's really good because that's, like I say, your guys' skill potential, your skill ceiling is definitely like higher than it was before. You guys have got more room for improvement than what you probably did before the roster changes. So I'm really looking forward to it, man. Thank you for giving me some of your time and just chatting to me this evening. Is there any few words you'd like to get out before I let you go?
Nothing special. I just want to
Okay.
say good luck to all the homies in the tournament and my boy lately. I'll probably see you later in the tournament, hopefully, homie.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. Well, like I said, Nexus, thank you so much for giving me some of your time, man. It's been a pleasure. And good luck this evening. I'm keen to see what you guys can pull out the bag.
Cheers, man.
Okay, cheers. Welcome back, everybody. That was Nexus on the line. I got an interview with him a bit earlier, and that's what he had to say about tonight's match. Nick, your thoughts?
Look, he said they're looking up for an interesting one, and he said he called out Goliath and said, "Listen, you Oaks don't actually know how deep our map pool is." So I'm excited. Maybe we see some Verdes. Maybe a train comes out. I don't know what to expect, but
Well,
if a Verdes comes out, I think that would be pretty exciting. So we'll see what happens.
let's think about it. What maps do Dynamic play? We know that they play Inferno. That's one of their maps they play. We know they play Nuke. That's another regular map that they play. Dust 2, I mean, I don't think I've seen much of them on Dust 2 lately. I know that Inferno and Nuke, I think, are their bread and butter. Overpass, have we seen much on Overpass from them lately? Just
Well,
trying
we
to,
saw
I'm just
them
trying to
get
figure out what
wiped by
maps.
lately on Overpass.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, in groups they played Goliath on Nuke, and I think they lost 16-7. Dust 2 they played Sinister5 during the Game.Cup. Like I know that was a while back, but we can remember the comeback that Sinister5 made in that map. That was
Yeah.
15-15 overtime. Inferno, I think Goliath probably are the best Inferno in the country. So if Dynamic are looking confident in that and they want to pick it into Goliath, I think that's a pretty ballsy pick, and I would respect them for that. But I think Goliath probably win that out. Verdes, we haven't seen
I'm
pretty
hoping
much
it's
any
Vertigo.
team
Straight
pick
up,
Verdes. Yeah, I mean,
I hope it's
yeah,
Vertigo.
Verdi, yes. I mean, yeah, I'll be pretty keen to cast a Vertigo. We haven't seen one of those in ages, but uh, I, I'm excited to see what Dynamic have in store. They said they
Yeah.
have a pretty deep map pool, so maybe there's something that we haven't seen before. Maybe a train, maybe a Vertigo, as I said. But other than that, I'm pretty sure Goliath seem to have their number on paper. But I mean, as Nexus said, we're going to be in for an interesting evening.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what Goliath started to permaban against ATK. Was it Train that they started permabanning? I think it might have been. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to ask them. So I'm keen to see a bit of speculation from our side. The veto won't be taking much longer, as nearly all 10 players are connected to the server, 9 out of 10 right now. So that should be getting underway shortly. Anyway, if you're just joining us now, welcome guys. This is the Telkom VS Gaming Masters Season 5, and we are right at the end of this entire event. Remember, this competition has been running all the way from February. These guys have been fighting it out through the 3 different legs in the Premier Division. They've earned their spot here today. They've fought through the group stage out of the 18 teams. They've made their way through the championship elimination bracket. And now both of the teams are 1 match away from reaching Comic-Con Online. That means that will be top 4 in the event. That's both of these teams have a goal of reaching that at the bare minimum. Like you heard what Nexus said. We want top 2.
Yeah, and he even said that look, they want top 2, but they're obviously going for the victory, and I appreciate that from Kevin's side, because he knows that ATK are without a doubt the best team in the country, but he knows that they're not unbeatable in that sort of same sense. So I appreciate that sort of perspective. But I think Goliath are definitely in the same boat. I think they're also aiming definitely for top 2, and they've also been in the conversation. ATK Goliath, we've seen them in best of 5 finals in previous tournaments. We've seen them in like. Yes, ATK have had the better of them in recent times, but we see Goliath really put up a good fight against ATK. So maybe with the addition of the new coach, we're seeing a different Goliath come out. But I think coming into this matchup, I don't think you're a madman if you say Goliath are going to take a 2-0, but I understand the point of view where you say maybe Dynamic win it out 2-1.
Yeah.
But I think if you're a betting man, you probably put your money on Goliath coming into this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, especially like you said a couple minutes ago, like these 2 teams did play each other in the group stage, and that was only 3 weeks ago, so it's not even like it was in the the distant past. And Goliath sort of hammered them, 16-7, 16-4, I think it was. So it was like a really one-sided performance from them. But having said that, like Dynamic have also been changing a lot over the past few weeks, with Nexus moving into the IGL role, Heartbreak picking up the AWP again, and Dweezil shifting across to Lurk. So they've obviously been in like a bit of a transitional stage, so they need time to figure out how that's all going to work. And personally, I'm actually quite glad that Heartbreak's back on the AWP. I feel like one of the things that was letting Dynamic down was actually their impetus on their T side. And the one thing that Heartbreak has the ability to do is actually take that AWP and look for those opening picks in the round, create opportunities for his team. And let's be real, AWPing on the T side is actually the most challenging thing to do with the AWP. It's quite easy on the CT side. You just sit back, hold an angle, and click on people as they start pushing you. Whereas on the T side, you have to have really quick reflexes. You have to be very in tune with how the game's been going to try and, play the opposition and decide how you're going to be approaching the half, where you pick and choose your battles that you take. So I think Heartbreak's great at that, and I'm keen to see how that's going to be playing out.
Yeah, I mean, you've sung Heartbreak's praises, but I got to do a bit of a 180 and say, look, on the other side of the camp, you got ADM on the AWP. I mean, well, like he's pretty much nutty on the AWP, and the second AWP I think pretty much is cannibalistic on the second AWP on the CT side. So I mean, yes, you've got Heartbreak on the AWP, and I think second AWP is the man, if I'm not mistaken, possibly. So I think those two AWPers are very good, but I think if you flip it over, then you got cannibalistic and ADM on the AWP, and you got to look at those and think. I remember when I mentioned Leggy being a top 3 AWP in the country, the first two names that jumped to your mind were ADM and Slowy. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that just shows that they're definitely here to play, and I think that's definitely going to be a theme throughout 2, possibly 3 maps is the AWP
Yeah.
battle. I think it won't be so much prevalent on a map like Vertigo. I don't think the T AWP is really bought out that often on Vertigo, but it is still definitely usable, taking those A ramp picks. And I'm just spitballing here. We don't even know if Vertigo is even a map. But it's something to look forward to, right? If we see something exciting coming out from the boys.
100%, Nick. I couldn't agree with you more. Just going back to the conversation about the AWPs, I think Kanye and ADM are the heaviest hitting double AWP setup in South Africa right now. I think Slowy is the best AWPer in South Africa, but I don't think that ATK have that out and out second AWPer. You know, they might juggle around amongst a few players, but when you just straight up objectively look at the double AWP setup, I think that Kanye and ADM are actually the strongest double AWP setup in South Africa. So that's certainly going to be a force to be reckoned with throughout the entire evening, and a code that Dynamic are going to have to crack if they're going to be successful tonight. Dynamic are going to be needing to come out firing as well. They're going to need their star players to be pitching up. The Divos and the Man, who are their 2 heaviest hitters in the team. Those are the players who are going to have to be leading from the front. We saw it in their last game that they played, that they actually they had lights out numbers on Nuke against Sinister5. They were just looking amazing. So we know that the form is there at the moment. The guys are on point.
Ooh.
What's up, Nick?
I'm just looking at the veto. It's
Yeah.
a minus train from Goliath, minus Mirage from Nexus
And
and the
we've
boys.
got the Vertigo pick.
We got Overpass and Vertigo.
We
So
got
I'm
the
keen.
Vertigo
I'm keen
pick.
for that Verdi's pick. But
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we saw Goliath previously. They played Overpass against Royalty. I
Yeah.
think they won that at 16-8 or something along those lines. That was in the upper brackets. We saw them play in groups. I think that was a Vertigo game, an Overpass game. I need to double check that. No, that was Nuke and Inferno. Sorry, but I mean, Overpass has definitely been one of Goliath's strongest maps. So I'm pretty sure Goliath will win that out. We saw Dynamic get 16-6 by Sinister5 on Overpass the other night in the upper bracket. So I think Goliath probably take Overpass, but that Vertigo pick coming out from Dynamic is extremely interesting to come out, and then we're seeing the all important Inferno third map to come out, which is always good. But
The
I mean,
classic,
I think Inferno is Goliath's second, maybe even their best map. I think they were probably the best Inferno in the country, or at least up in the conversation. But
No,
we know Dynamic also pretty confident with their Inferno, so that's going to be
Yes.
an exciting third map if we get there.
I agree. I think Goliath are the best team on Inferno in the country. It's the one map that ATK have just started perma-banning against them, because it was like actually the one map that they struggled on the most. So I agree. Goliath's definitely on top. Having said that, we've also seen Dynamic do some great things on that map, so it's certainly going to be providing the entertainment if we go the distance, which very may well be the case. We see Overpass, like you said, coming out first, picked by Goliath. Dynamic choosing to start on the CT side. Then we got Vertigo picked by Dynamic. Goliath starting on the CT side there. Inferno the third map, and Dynamic will be starting on the CT side. So CT sides picked all round when the teams did have their choices. And we've already had the map switch to Overpass, so we'll be jumping into the game shortly. The one thing I will say, Nick, is that Goliath do play Vertigo. In fact, it's the one map that they brought into their pool recently to try and, catch ATK off guard. I think it was in the Game.Cup or the Predator Winter Slam that they picked it to try and, in the winners bracket match to try and see if they could get it up on them. And it was actually 13-13 at one stage, and it was like this crazy round where neither team had a full buy. Whoever was going to win that round was probably going to win the map as well, because they would get the grip on the economy. So it was like Goliath were in a position to win from that point, and they ended up losing. But the point in the conversation is that they were actually looking solid on the map. So it's not a foregone conclusion that it's like, okay, Dynamic pick Vertigo, they're going to be winning that. No, Goliath do play the map as well.
And that's something interesting, right? Especially when, if you're from Dynamics camp, look, I could be completely wrong in saying this. I don't know how often they've cracked the map, how often they've scrimmed, how often they've even thought about bringing it into their pool. But when you haven't played it in officials, and in often times, we saw Goliath play Vertigo against Nibble Conspire during the leg 3 in regulation of the VS Gaming.
Yeah.
So Goliath have previous experience during officials, and then everyone knows. No one, I don't need to say this to anyone. Anyone with a brain knows that an official is different to a scrim, right? So you can scrim the map 100 times over if you're dynamic, but they haven't got that previous official experience, to my knowledge. I'm subject to correction on that. So that's something interesting. Like, it's good that you're adding it to your pool, but is now the time? Should you rather just focus on the map you're more comfortable with and try find out those mistakes and try anti-strat Goliath in that sort of regard, or are you just gonna just completely just go for a ballpark pick with Vertigo and try catch the blind side and see what you can get done? But I mean, it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I hear where you're going with that, but I do think it's actually the right time to pull out this sort of a pick because you're in the upper bracket, so like you've got an extra life to play with, even if it doesn't go the way you expected. And then when you go back to the lower bracket, you can like sort of stick to your strengths and see if you can make it work from there. But I think this is the time to experiment right now. And this is a good opportunity for Dynamic to show what they're capable of on the map. I'm going to be bringing the game up because all of the players are connected, and it shouldn't be much longer before we get underway here on Overpass. So, let's get the game on. Oh man, he forgot to exec observer. What a noob. What a noob. There we go. Now the HUD looks far more clean. Of course, the mini-map always screws with me because that's like stock standard at this point. So let me just get that going.
But I mean, I think if you pull out and you say Goliath are 2-0 victors, I don't think that's too wrong. I think I'm actually probably going to go with that. I know it's a bit optimistic, but I just think what Goliath have got on the server, they've played Vertigo before, they know what's cracking on the map. As you said, they've taken 80k to 26 plus rounds on that sort of map. So
yeah.
To take a formidable opponent like 80k, I know Vertigo, at least to my knowledge, is not one of 80k's best maps, but it's something to keep in mind in the large scheme of things. But then again, the flip side is we don't know what Dynamic have been preparing on that map. We don't know how they compare to Goliath. But I think I'm gonna stick my neck out there and say it's probably gonna be a Goliath Gaming 2-0 victory.
Okay, so you reckon that even though Vertigo's come into the mix, Goliath still have what it takes to get across the line there, even though they might got caught off guard slightly?
Yeah, I think Goliath still are coming into this without a doubt favorites to possibly take the 2-0 victory. But even if Vertigo doesn't go their way, I'm pretty sure it would be an upset if Dynamic win the series out 2-1. But with that being said, you never know what sort of tricks that Goliath have got, are going to pull out their hats. I mean, at Dynamic rather, we don't know how they got feeling coming into this matchup. Maybe it's going to be a complete upset, 2-0 wipe from Dynamic. You never know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just gonna say a 2-0 victory for Goliath. I think that's a pretty fair assumption.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as convinced. I think, judging by Nexus's interview, like I've got a little bit of hope for them on Vertigo. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to say that, hey, you know what? Maybe they actually will be able to pull off an upset. The personnel are there, and yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is going to be as clean cut as we're thinking it may be. Definitely won't be as clean cut as it was in the group stage. The one thing that I am a bit fearful for Dynamic is that Goliath aren't taking this game lightly, as Adam said in his interview, which you guys will hear after the first map. So there's not going to be any let-offs, and I've been saved by the bell because we're jumping into the pistol round, so I don't even need to give my prediction. That makes it nice and easy. Into the game we go. Goliath on the T side, Dynamic on the CT side, Comic-Con online, spots at Comic-Con online is on the line right now. Whoever wins this is reaching top 4. Loser gets dropped down to the lower brackets, and straight into the pistol round we go.
We're seeing a kit and a smoke on Dweezil, and there's no util besides that on Zip. He's got a flashbang. I assume the smoke has already been thrown out, but the B bomb side is going to be the one in question. The man takes off ADM's head, but Cannibalistic takes off the man. So now it's a 4v4 post plant in the pistol round, but there is still this player towards short. The bomb has not been planted. Don't let me persuade your ears, but it seems like it is going to be a 4v4. They're just going to wrap back towards heaven. They are going to do so, but Nexus could catch him in transition. He's just wide swing. He's got the D key taped down, but Zip has the gunfighter. Massacre with the slowest low takes out Heartbreak at the back of the head. He breaks his heart. Now it's Dweezil left in a 1v4 in the pistol round for Goliath.
Yeah.
Seems to be on point.
Yeah, they know where he is as well, so they're just hightailing it towards the A-bomb site. They've got him lock and chain. What a nice pistol round from Goliath, though. Just walking through Monster, taking the contact approach. and they find the vacant B bomb site. And you can see the man was starting to consider that, like, hey guys, they could actually be walking out onto B. He swings out, he gets a kill, but immediately gets overwhelmed. It actually got a bit awkward there for Goliath when they were caught in two minds between whether they should go up to the A bomb site or commit to B. When Nexus pushed out short, he nearly caught them off guard, but the frags went the way of Goliath in the end regardless. So they get off to a good start on Inferno, or rather Overpass. I don't think Dynamic stand much of a chance on this map, I'm going to be straight up. I think that Goliath's teamwork is superior. They've just been together for a longer period of time, especially the core. And Overpass, it comes down to teamwork, right? Because it is just such a big map. There's so much going on. There's so many different potential strategies you can bring out the bag. So this is going to be a tough one for Dynamic to contend with.
Yeah, and I think Overpass is definitely one of those maps where it's relatively easy to find the hole in the CT's defense and exploit it, whether it's a failure to take short control or possibly positioning on the B bomb sites or leaving long open for a bit too long, bathrooms control, all things like that. If you leave a hole and the T's are able to exploit it, then you're going to be left scratching your head when they're going to be running into a bomb site and just taking you clean off. They seem to know where you are, but I agree with you 100%. I think Dynamic, they've had a bit of a tough time on Overpass in recent times. I mean, Sinister5, they cleaned them up 16-6, but Sinister5 have a very good Overpass of their own, so that result may be a bit misleading in that regard. But I mean, going into the round, the anti-eco seems to be relatively clean. Diver is the only one that's chimed in for a kill. The last player on the site is Nexus. He's actually going to get one, which makes it a bit more expensive than Goliath probably would have liked, but that's all she wrote. Zip, Zip, and Massacre, the only two to drop. 3 Galils stay up, and 2 rounds are posted on the board for Goliath Gaming.
Yeah, they should make it 3 as well, considering that the double save is going to be coming into effect here for Dynamic. I like this approach, not forcing the issue unnecessarily. This is something that I talk about quite regularly on our Overpass streams when the CT side lost the pistol. You want to make sure you get full util. It's really important to have the util at your disposal on the CT side here, just to force the Ts, that keep them at bay for as long as you can. You know, force them to take map control with utility of their own. And also the AWP is a very big factor on this map. There's lots of long-range battles to be had. And Dynamic, just with a couple pistols in this round, pretty much a deco, bar heartbreak. You know, that's the life of the AWPer, right? You don't get to have as much fun as your teammates in the eco rounds.
Yeah. But I mean, you prefaced it in the pre-match, right? That AWP battle that we're going to see heartbreak and ADM going neck and neck. So I think that's definitely something to keep out of, to keep an eye out for. I think the T AWP on Overpass is very viable in that sort of regard. You're taking fights over towards bathrooms long, maybe holding a preemptive monster peak, things like that. So I think it's one of those maps where the T AWP really favors you taking those duels. But I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Heartbreak, holding, and waiting for ADM to walk into his crosshairs are going to be the exact opposite, you know. So I think that's definitely something to keep an eye out for. But Weasel's going to press the issue, and what should have been just a stock standard deco buy and Goliath cleaning things up, it's actually a man advantage that Dynamic find themselves in.
I mean, not a bad result already as it stands, just picking up 2 kills. Now Goliath are going to try brute force their way into the say bomb site. All 3 players pushing up long, but there's a couple CTs in response. They've already got themselves in position, and Weasel's taking the attention, so I mean, this could allow for his teammates to activate, but a fresh smoker is going to be blocking them off at the CT stairs, and that's why Divo's trying to engineer a way into this bomb site through bank. Did Adam not spotted? Oh, his teammate must have given him the info as he goes back and takes him down, but look at Dweezil's positioning. He's also salvaged the Galil. ADM is aware of this, but if Dweezil's quick on the trigger, he can find the frag, and that's a nice headshot from him as he comes around the corner. As Dynamic try to make this retake happen, the man takes Adaro down, and now it's left on Kani in the clutch. A 1v2. Yes, there's no armor on either of these players, but it's still a job to be done, and that certainly makes his life a lot easier. And look at the passive option he takes, dropping all the way back. He doesn't want to give the man a sniff. And as he starts to hear that bomb reaching its explosion, he makes sure that there's no chance of any sneaky defuse, takes down the man, secures the round for Goliath, but a heck of a lot of economic damage was done in the process.
100%, but at the end it's an easy 1v3 for Trevor Carney. But yeah, I agree that the economy game's definitely something to keep an eye on, and Dynamic, they've shown what they can do, what they're capable of in the pistol rounds. The first deco buy they had, they took out 2. That round they took out 4.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to have an impact on Goliath's economy, and that's definitely the long-term game that we're looking at. But it is the first tactical pause coming out. I assume that's the conversation around where Heartbreak's going to be activated with this AWP. He has purchased it up. He is looking over towards middle. So that is something to keep an eye out for. We did see this last round, the deep ramp smoke that gets thrown often. Often that's met by a molly, maybe a deeper molly towards a playground, that if the T's run through, they either waste a smoke, or they just take damage from the molly, or they just let the CTs take control. So that's something to keep an eye out for further on in the half. But Nexus, this deep monster smoke is going to be a theme throughout the half. Monster control is definitely something to keep an eye out for, but Dweezil's going to throw that aforementioned deep ramp smoke, and Heartbreak is going to try get something done with that AWP towards middle, but it's a Daro over towards lowers, creepy crawling, trying to get something done.
Yeah, stock standard default coming out of the blocks here for Goliath. Got 2 players in lowers and 3 players towards playground. And this is the thing about the T side of Overpass, is like, you can rush B, but you definitely can't rush A. Like, whenever I'm playing MM and somebody calls like rush A, I'm like, my man, are you literally out of your mind? it's so difficult because there's such a large amount of distance to cover, and that's why Goliath are just approaching this a bit more meticulously. They're clearing out lowers. They've now taken party control as well, while they're just keeping tabs on long, making sure that there's no presence. ADM's even going to just clear it out, and this is it. This is just how you go about your business on the T side, clearing out the control. You can see there's the double peek as well as they come out of toilets, and now Goliath know that they've got a great grip on the map as they find themselves in control. What do they do with this control is the option. They could go back to lowest to B, or they could try and use this and work the A bomb site. Dweezil, who is isolated, has been taken down, and look at what that's done to the rotations. There's now 2 players on A and 2 players on B, and we know that the B bomb site can be tough to hold with only 2 players.
And check the util. There's no util to stop the side hit coming in. Just a couple flashbangs. But the man is going to be left in a more often than not one and done position. But he's going to get cleared by Masker. Get the first skull pretty easily. But with the continuation spray, he's up by Nexus. But Zip takes him out. So now it's a 3v3 post plant. The bomb is going to be planted in front of Dice, and Kani, or ADM rather, actually has control towards bathroom. But in transition is Nexus trying to catch out Zip. And now it's ADM left in a 1v3 turned 1v2. Low HP on Divo. Could be something to keep an eye on, but he takes his head off, and now it's ADM left in a 1v1. Now it's Nexus. All the pressure's on him. There is a kit in hand, but nothing to splash him out. And ADM, he takes it as easy as you like. 1v3. ADM's turned up, and Goliath post their 4th, and they're ready to battle on Overpass in the upper brackets.
Man, I just love Adam's decision there to get aggressive after he finds that first frag. He doesn't want to sit back and wait where they can like sort of get on the bomb and both of them are watching him at the same time. He's proactive. He forces the issue. He takes down Divo, and then Nexus is left in such an awkward position because like he can't just stick the defuse. He has to try and get the kill. Another 1v3 goes the way of Goliath. That's 2 1v3s in 4 rounds. Kanye and ADM the ones to get that done, but the force spike comes back in response here from Dynamic, and they're trying to force the issue here towards ramp. Look at how aggressive they're being right now. Here's the response from Goliath. ADM with the spray transfer is going to take down 2. Eventually he's taken down, but the trade is imminent from Zip. And that is not the start Dynamic would have hoped for in the force buy here. Neither is that smoke.
But
Smoke's off Optimus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's playing. That's gigabit brain. But I mean, I think something that we can take from the first 4 rounds is just how ready Goliath are, right? Yes, they've had 2 1vx situations, but I mean, looking at it in the big picture, just how they've gone about just taking a bomb site and how they've worked as a team. As you said prior, Overpass is definitely one of those maps where you got to look at the teamwork and how well oiled you are, how well oiled of a machine you are. And from the first 4 rounds, we're definitely seeing Goliath showing up, even though, as I said, 2 of those have been 1vx's. Prior to that has just been great Counter-Strike, and now it's a 4-0 up, and it's a 2v4, and Divo could actually catch 2 players looking the wrong way, and now it's a 4v2 turned 2v2. Kanye on the other side of the smoke, he's going to emerge from this and could find 2 CTs looking the wrong way. Nexus and Divo are going to try to press the issue. The first player to fall is Divo, and Nexus is playing up close to personal. He's going to show his hand, and Kanye is going to be a cannibal and take his head off, and that makes no sense, but just run with me on that. 5 on the board for Goliath to no response from Dynamic, but Heartbreak's already purchased up the AWP.
good effort there from Divo and Nexus to try and make the retake happen, but that positioning from Kani was just too superior. There's no ways that they expected him to be on the edge of the smoke, and that little bit of bait coming through from Massacre as well as he just fires a few shots with the Mac-10 works out perfectly. So there's going to be another buy here for Dynamic. Am I right in saying like this is the third force in a row for them?
Yeah, I think you.
I mean, they didn't save in the previous round, right? So it must
definitely
be.
not.
And this is just because they keep on doing economic damage, right? So they're trying to break into this game, see if they can reset Goliath's economy. So I totally get the logic, and I'm not even going to criticize it. I like their approach. I like the aggressive narrative here. I like their confidence. And it's cool to see that they back themselves in these situations as Goliath group up outside of this B bomb site, taking water control. The AWP at the moment is being left alone at the A bomb site, which means there are 4 players in proximity of this B bomb site. Gonna go for the boost
there is something
up,
to keep in mind. Considering Goliath, they haven't gone for any information play, but it's actually going to be the aforementioned Dynamic trying to get something done. The 2v2 trade over towards Shorts, and Zipzip's going to try to press the issue, catch Nexus, Diver rather, looking the wrong way, and that's the man advantage for Goliath. But as you said, there was no info play taken out from Goliath. They just sort of hit the B bomb site there, found 4 players, but there's still 1 player alive, and that is Dweezil in the smoke. He's going to be a little weasel, but get taken out by Kanye in the meantime, and now it's Heartbreak trying to break the hearts of Goliath in a 1v3 situation. I've said way too many puns so far this map, but you haven't called me out for one, so it's fine. 5-0 is the score, and it looks like it's going to be a 6th.
It's fine, Nick. It's a Saturday. You've got way more license than you normally do. I'm going to let you run with it, bro. Have fun. Heartbreak, he just wants to save the sword, but unfortunately it's not going to be the easiest thing as they're already on his case, but he does take down Kani. That gives him more breathing room. But that's going to be of little consolation right now. Of course, Dynamic fully invested again, and now they've got no choice but to go for the full save. They need to get up that buy once again. It's going to be 6-0, 7-0 after the next save, unless they can pull off some heroics. And the half is starting to get away from them a little bit. Yes, it's early days, but Goliath, they're a very momentum-based team, Nick. So when you let this team get ahead 7-0, it doesn't matter what map it is, they're going to be starting to feel themselves and get better as the occasion proceeds.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, very momentum based. When the confidence is high, you really like. I just see people like Massacre, Dara, and Zipzip just running out places dry, just taking aim duels just because of sheer confidence. But that is something to keep in mind. 6-0 is the score. Heartbreak has got that salvaged AWP, and Goliath, they're going back towards this B lane. There's just 5-7s on everyone besides that of Divo, and Nexus is going to try to push the issue. He's actually going to catch Kanye in transition. He's able to double down towards ADM, and that's a salvaged M4, but Divo catches Massacre. Now there's the bomb site available, but they're completely isolated on it, and they're actually going to hightail it back to up towards A, and this rotate from Heartbreak over towards Lowers allows for a vacant A bomb site to be taken from Goliath.
Surely not again. Goliath cannot win out another 2 versus 4 or another clutch situation. Like, it's just happened too many times. And Dynamic have even been afforded the luxury of picking up those weapons that they drop towards Monster. So they've got rifles to deal with this retake. The problem is they're on the opposite side of the map, Nick, and they don't have a kit amongst the 4 players. So they are going to have to hightail it. They've got no opportunity to hang around. Zipzip and Adaro, they go back into passive post-plant positions, one towards CT stairs, one in bank, and they're focusing their attention towards bathrooms. They're ready for this aggression to come through. Heartbreak leading the charge, and look at the proactiveness in the defense here of the bomb from the T side. Zipzip forcing the issue, and he's going to be able to land a nice shot. Adaro with the Mac-10, he gets himself 3! Oh man, another 2v4 goes the way of Goliath, and they even kept both of the players alive. Yeah, I guess it was a pretty difficult one for Dynamic when you look at it objectively. They had to try and cross the distance onto the bomb side, and pushing through that open air was going to be very tough for them. So they go down, but this is where they now need to start making things happen in this buy round to come.
Yeah, 100%. Last round was an eco for the most part. It was just Heartbreak on that salvaged AWP. They did do the economical damage, but as I've said multiple times before, yes, it's good that there's only 2 Ts staying alive, but it's not good that they've posted 7 and you haven't. So that's something Dynamic need to keep in mind. Like, yes, you've done economical damage. You're forcing players to reinvest each round. Like, Kanye is the only one that's really taken the full brunt. He's less than $1,000 in the bank, but you haven't posted any rounds. So on a majority CT-sided map, but what it's seen as mostly in that regard, like, if you're Dynamic, you really can't let this game get too far away from you at this stage. You got to start posting rounds on the board. You got to start making them a lot more competitive. I mean, that last round was a 2v4. That's exactly what Dynamic and Heartbreak needed coming into this round.
Yeah, a rare opening frag going the way of Dynamic that goes untraded. So the man advantage is in effect now. How do they play around with this man advantage is the question. They're still holding a fairly aggressive setup towards toilets. They've got Dweezil, who's pushed all the way up and is playing around the entry points while Heartbreak covers them with the AWP. But you can see as the smoke starts to fade, that's their cue to start dropping back a bit further. But you don't want to give away this map control for free, and that's exactly why Dynamic are just having a bit of presence here. Even if you don't face and take the fight, the fact that you throw some util just shows that you're in the area, and that alone is enough to have a bit of an effect. Goliath, though, showing presence of their own and then making their way back down low as they're going to pop onto the B bomb site. Dynamic, though, they still have 3 players rooted on this B bomb site. They haven't shifted any of their pieces, and they're ready to welcome them with open arms. Util starting to rain in, support flashes coming through from Adaro, and that's going to be allowing the 3 players to push through. Monster looking to try and trade off of one another. Nexus goes with a good frag there. He's going to be able to take down Massacre as well. Maybe I spoke preemptively. It's actually Dweezil who comes through in that kill, and now it's Adaro left in the clutch. Not another 1 versus 3. Nick, I'll lose my mind.
I will also lose my mind, but the fading smoke in heaven means that it's not going to happen. Heartbreak posts the first for Dynamic, and that round, as you said prior, it's like that's probably the first time we've seen Dynamic get the man advantage just from an off peak in middle, and that's something Dynamic need to do more often. And they can't give up that map control like they did, and they didn't. The smokes dropped, and what happened? They had a player pushing close to the smoke, so they knew that there were no sound cues. They knew that they could still keep 3 players over towards the B bomb sites.
Yeah.
And ultimately, a great round coming out from Dynamic. They got the man advantage. Yes, it was a bit dicey in the end. 2 players stay alive, but the first is posted, and now you got to start building off of that. Now there's 2 good lulls already on the side of Goliath.
I mean, we can see the impact of those frags that Dynamic were finding in the rounds that they were losing. So, I mean, that's the bare minimum, right? Even if you're losing rounds, you want to just be making sure you're keeping your opponent's economy in check. And Goliath want to go for the full B hit here. I like this decision as well. They've been playing super complex on their T side so far with their defaults and just approaching things quite meticulously. Now they're going to go for that brute force approach. Obviously, you can't take too long when you have this sort of a setup because you don't know what information is being found elsewhere on the map, and that's why they're going to be moving. There's still more than a minute left on the clock. They've baited out the util from the B players as their util reigns in as well. Dynamic know right now what's going on. You can see that push coming on the opposite side of the map. Divo ready for the boost up on the opposite side of the smoke as well, trying to deny Goliath the entry into the bomb site. They've been able to get through Monster, but they've been met by the sheer force of the rifles. Even though a quick couple kills come in, Nexus is able to maintain control. Now he just needs to stay alive to buy time for his teammates to rotate in, and it's Adam, the 1 player left for Goliath, who gets taken down as well. So Dynamic starting to find their footing here on the CT side.
100%. Now Goliath, they already have the eco coming their way, so we're starting to see Dynamic post a respectable scoreline on the CT side. I think if they're looking at that 6-7 mark, they'll be more than happy after going 7-0 down without reply.
Yeah.
But if they can post 8, it will be perfect. But now it's just pistols for Goliath, so now their job is to make this round as clean as possible is Dynamic. So they just can't be losing those opening picks. They can't be getting caught in no man's land against these pistols. They just got to play it together, and that's exactly what they're doing. They just playing on the bomb sides, which is perfectly fine on a map like Overpass. You can take these long-range battles. As you said prior, the Ts have to cover a lot of ground to hit that A bomb site. You have a lot of time to take those long-range duels with the rifles.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately how the round's going to go. Dweezil's going to take first contact from the
nice.
bathrooms, and a great spray transfer allows him to get 2. He's going to peer out to try catch ADM off with the help, a flash from his teammate Heartbreak. He's going to help him out, and now Dweezil's posted 3 in the round.
Nice.
Massacre gets taken out by the man, and as clean a round as you could like if you're a Dynamic. Getting that bank starting to build.
Yeah, that's going to be giving them a nice boost of confidence as they keep all 5 players alive. And just looking at the frag distribution, everybody on the server's pitched up, Nick. There's nobody who's like 1 for 10 or something like that. And that's a good sign, because it means that we got a full server of players who we know that their potential is crazy. Like, there's a lot of talented individuals in the server right now. This server is stacked to the brim when it comes to individual talent. And that's what makes this game so exciting. And there we go, Heartbreak with the AWP, engineering the opening frag once again as Adaro was just walking forward. Massacre hoping to trade and trying to avenge his fallen comrade, but Heartbreak gets out of dodge immediately after he gets that kill. And you can see the protocols in play here, Nick. You can see Dynamic, they take that first contact either in lowers or towards party, and then they get the setup in the bathrooms. They actually haven't been showing any presence towards long. And I wonder if Goliath are going to be starting to notice that and looking to exploit it, but the crossfire immediately comes into effect.
A great round coming up from Dynamic once again, and it's prefaced by that early pick that they were able to get. Dweezil drops ADM, and I'm pretty sure he spotted Zip over towards long, but the bomb has been dropped, so that's something to keep in mind. But it's prefaced once more about that early pick coming out from Heartbreak. I think that's the second round in a row,
Yeah.
or the second buy round in a row rather, against Goliath, where he's got that opening pick, and then Dynamic, they've been looking good from that sort of point of view. But now Goliath's job is to shut that down. They got to flash middle, flash lowers, clear out all the angles so that they can't lose that opening pick to that mobile AWP of Heartbreak, because he's doing a very good job at starting the round off really well for Dynamic on the
Yeah.
CT side of Overpass.
Absolutely. That's 4 consecutive round wins now for Dynamic, and it's going to be another save for Goliath. So they're going to be starting to... they're going to have to start to reconsider their approach here on the T side. And like I said, I think Long is somewhere that they could try and make it happen, because Dynamic haven't been giving that area.
Heartbreak's in no man's land.
Yeah, he's way too far forward in the anti-eco as the AWPer. Once you've missed your first shot, or you haven't gotten anything in the first like 3 seconds, you need to get out of there, because you have no idea what's coming your way. And Goliath, they're not slowing down either, Nick. They're doing 120 on the freeway right now as they make their way onto the A bomb site. They do get...
They booked it up Long.
Yeah, they're actually sitting in a nice little neat cubby here. They
Yeah.
could leave the 2 players and then try and show presence elsewhere, because you can actually hide in that cubby where they are right now, where Kanye and Adara are sitting. So it's just the patience game right now. They're just trying to sow the seed of doubt in the minds of the CTs that maybe they're rotating back across, but Dynamic are going to get aggressive. They want to get some information right now, and they do take down Zip Zip. Goliath doubling back now. They have got that AWP on ADM, which is working its way up Long. Diver though, got a bit of a job to do. He's got supports as well. Wants to make sure he's not going to get overwhelmed. He does get taken down by Kani. Weasel though, still in close proximity, can't immediately capitalize though. He still is alive and kicking, and he is able to find the frag. ADM though, he comes into effect with his AWP, and that's actually the A bomb site that's been taken control of. The problem is that Adaro is the player with the bomb, and Dweezil's taken him down. That's going to be very difficult now for ADM to pick up once again. Both of these players are amongst one another. Amongst us, some might say. Among us, that's the one. Dweezil takes him down in the end. So Goliath look good in that eco round, but they at least do some damage, like 3 frags. But look at the economy on Dynamic side, Nick.
Yeah, the table has completely flipped. This was the first couple rounds for Goliath. They just looked like they were just a better team. They were showing up, they were hitting their shots, but now it's the exact opposite. Yes, you've seen 2 ecos from Goliath, but the 3 buy rounds that we have seen Dynamic win out have been really convincing at that. They've got the opening pick, and they've really sat back on the bomb sites and just held off the side hits, which has been really good, except for that bathrooms crossfire that we saw. But this round is somewhat of an anomaly. We haven't seen Heartbreak activate that up towards middle, so that opening pick hasn't quite gone the way 30 seconds into the round. So now it's a bit of a different circumstance coming into this buy round.
And Dynamic are preempting some sort of re-aggression. They've got 4 players there with Heartbreak just spotting. He's super passive this round, as you alluded to. And look at Goliath. They've got 4 players towards Long right now. So exactly as I mentioned a few rounds ago, they had to try and see if they could figure out a chink in the armor. And they seem to have figured out that Dynamic aren't showing too much defense towards that side of the map, but actually as the smoke extinguishes, there's a molly drop by Dynamic just to keep them at bay. So they've got the info now. The rotations are coming through thick and fast. This is going to be pretty tough for Goliath to navigate. They've been able to get quite far forward. They're relatively unscathed, and now it zips up on the entry. Flashbangs on point from Adaro, and the first entry has been found. Dweezil though still hanging around. He needs to stay alive. He got the kill, but he's going to get traded out. So the 1-man advantage does come through for Goliath as they plant the bomb.
Now it's a 3v4 post plant. The bomb has been planted front dice, and bathrooms control is awarded to Goliath. All 3 CTs coming in from the same area of the map, and Massacre takes out the man. Nexus spams down Adara, and Diver's going to try activate towards APC, but get taken out by ADM in the meantime. So now it's Nexus in 1v3. They've got plenty cash, so he has the ability to go for this, try get something done. But Kani and the boys are giving him nothing. And Kani ultimately gets a free kill. And the 8th is posted for Goliath, and they're going to try and look for the double digits in the half.
Yeah, I think Goliath are going to breathe a bit of a sigh of relief after that one. Yeah, I mean, they're still sitting really pretty on the T side, but when you consider that they were ahead 7-0 and it then became 7-5, like they were starting to work a lot harder for their rounds, and the Long push worked, and now that's going to be forcing Dynamic to pay a little bit more attention to Long, and that's where Goliath can then change up their strat, right? It's like a game of chess, the give and take, always changing based on your opponent's previous move.
Yeah. And something we haven't seen so far this map, on the CT side at least for Dynamic, is fighting for that short control, which is something that's quite often done for CTs. So Goliath, they're able to just walk out this relatively for free. Like, it's a bit of a 50-50 taking short. Like, yes, you take short, you win out the opening duels. Do you leave players there? Do you fall back to site because it's a bit of an iffy situation, easy to get flashed off the angles? But be there as it may, it's a 5v5 in the mid round. And mollies have been dropped on the either side of Monster. And ADM's going to peer over. Tippity tap. Oh, he can't quite finish off Nexus, but information for his position has been known. So Canny's going to take his head off, and he's good for the double entry on towards Divo, and Massacre's going to take out Dweezil. But the man is still on the bomb site. Adaro has got the flank covered, and now it's Heartbreak left, and a 1v4 turned 1v3. He's going to emerge from the smoke. That is faded, so that no longer shrouds his position, but Massacre's looking the wrong way, and that's the bomb in pit.
Quick thinking from Heartbreak to get himself back to Graveyard, or rather to Graffiti, and he's actually been able to get out of Graffiti as well, hightailing it to Heaven as he looks to try and catch one of them off guard. The bomb's been planted, and you can bet your top dollar Adaro is not going to be moving a muscle as Zip has him covered. 9-5, Goliath looking good here. And I just want to point out, I mean, I haven't even looked at the flash count yet, but I'm betting that Adaro is already on plus 10 or 10 plus. Let's see. Adaro, 6. Oh, damn, it's actually Kani with the 18 and Zip with the 19. But the thing is like, you can't really take these numbers too legit, because this is just like when you flash someone and it hasn't really had, doesn't mean it had an effect in the round, right? You could have just blinded someone. Adaro's flashes have been really effective, so that's why I thought he had a few more than he actually did. Anyway, final round of the first half here. Enough money for Dynamic to muster up a buy, but it's not an amazing buy, Nick. And in fact, they've already lost 2 players as they try to get aggressive through Monster and try catch Goliath off guard, but you need to wake up early in the morning to catch these guys off.
Yeah, geez, yeah, you really got to. I'm pretty sure Massacre only wakes up at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we'll see what happens. But he doesn't need his eyes open to clean out Heartbreak, and now it's Dweezil left in 1v5. And I just wanted to talk about the enemy's flash stat. Like, I agree with you 100%. Like, the flash doesn't even have to completely blind someone. They could be not even partially blind, and then it will be an enemy flash. So I agree with you. Adaro's flashes have been highly impactful, and that I'd like that from CS if they add that to the standard scoreboards, like maybe a flash that led to a kill, or an enemy killed full blind, assist. Something along those lines. Yeah, instead of just an enemy flash, because like flashing over long does 2 every round, you're going to end the game with like 50 flashes, obviously.
Or my favorite one is Train T side, where you just throw it over main at the start of the round. You get like 3 flashes at the start of every round, and then I've got my friends that are like, bro, have you seen how mad I am at flashing? Like, dude, I've got like 30 flashes. I'm like, my man, you've been throwing a double flash when no one's pushing at the start of every round. Like, you're literally achieving nothing. Anyway, I mean, it makes him feel a bit better, so that's what counts, right? 10-5, Goliath, exactly. Looking really good on Overpass. Their map pick as well. They had a fantastic T side. Even when they did start losing, they were able to re-engineer their approach, right? They relied less on their defaults, and they started relying more on their set pieces, and that got them back into the gear, got them back to winning ways. Now they're on the CT side, which is the favorite side. Dynamic, what are they going to be bringing to the table? We're going to have to wait and see their investments before we can make any guesses, but we just got a bit of a timeout here as something gets resolved. So let's get many people watching already. Firstly, guys, thank you for joining us. It's been great to see the turnout this evening, you know, supporting 2 of South Africa's best teams, you know, in Dynamic and Goliath. Goliath, firmly South Africa's second best team, and then Dynamic sort of, I think it's safe to call them the 4th best team at the moment, but then you've also got the conversation between them and Energy. I'm sort of rating Energy as 3rd at the moment, but those 2 teams are very closely contested, and on their day could definitely go toe to toe. So my point is, you got 2 of the top 4 teams in the country here at the bare minimum. Send the link to your friends, send the link to your grandmother. Let's get as many people as we can watching this game.
Yeah, Granny loves some good Saturday night kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what Massacre loves is tapping Dweezil's head early in the round and possibly getting a second, but Canny's going to help him out to get into the pistol round of the second half of Overpass, which... Yeah, they're just playing deathmatch on Overpass. You haven't seen this before. The warm-up service never changed to Overpass, but...
And look at the setup on B. They've got the boost going on, so they've just completely disengaged. They're getting the information. Adaro can't find a kill, and Nexus wants to force the issue. He might be biting off a bit more than he can chew, but he is able to take down Adaro, and in fact, he's got support. Look at Dynamic. They're just pushing forward relentlessly right now. They look like they want to continue to press their way. They need to be careful, though, because if there's one man that can do damage with the USP in South Africa, his name is Kani. I would rate him as the best pistol player in South Africa right now, in particular with the USP. He's just absolutely lights out, but Diver with the Glock up close is able to get the kill. Now it's just left on ADM's shoulders in the 1v1. If he can land the one bullet, he gets the job done, but it's Diver who does the damage and keeps Dynamic in the hunt with that frag. 10-6.
Divo who does the damage 100%, and we saw in the previous matchups with Dynamic, I think the one against Sinister5 really jumps out to me. As I'm pretty sure on every map he was probably first or second on his team on the scoreboard, which just shows you that when Divo turns up, he's really a key factor for Dynamic. And in this map, the same can't really be said. He finds himself 11-13, but they were 10-5 down on the CT side. So that was a bit misleading, but ultimately that round was a bit of a thrown round, in all honesty, from Goliath. I mean, you got the 2 opening picks. It's a 5v3. You boosted. Maybe if you're Goliath, you should have fallen back there, but hindsight is 20/20 vision. So I mean, it's easy to point out the mistakes when they've happened. It's not, in the time it's difficult to point them out. But be there as it may, it's 10-6 on the scoreboard, and Dynamic, they're starting to mount a comeback. But Goliath, they're not having any of it. They're forced into the Shantays.
Yeah, they got the 2 scouts and a couple upgraded pistols. So the logic here is for the scouts to try and do some chip damage, see if they can bring a couple players low on the T side, and that's when the upgraded pistols can come into effect. The CZs and the Desert Eagles. So that's the plan. That's the hypothetical mentality right now for Goliath. Whether that's going to come to fruition or not, we'll have to wait and see. Plenty rifles on the side of Dynamic, and they're not taking any chances right now, Nick. They're being incredibly cautious in their approach, making sure that they don't give away any frags for free. Divo making sure there's no flanks coming through either. He's literally just tasked with making sure that the flank is covered. And while the remaining 4 players just hover around together, and they're going to be making their way towards the B bomb side. A lot of util damage has been done. Massacre finds the first frag as well. This could be awkward very quickly right now as Adara and Zip chime in with a few frags of their own. Nexus and Divo now tasked with trying to turn this round back into Dynamic's favor, but all of the Goliath players are already around the bomb side, already in position to deal with the attack. They are making it so tough right now. There's only 8 seconds left. Divo is the only player left alive, and he's not going to be left standing for much longer. He gets 2 quick kills, but that's all it's going to be. What a round win for Goliath. That was telegraphed.
That was telegraphed, and you saw that it was definitely something they rehearsed. They had 3 players over towards B. 2 of them held those nades as long as possible until they knew where the hit was coming from, right? As soon as the heaven smoke came in and the flashes paraded over the site, 2 nades were dropped over towards short, and that left 3 players very vulnerable to those body shots in the deagle. And ultimately, a great round coming out from Goliath, a great force buy, second buy sort of strat. And now Dynamic, they're trying to force back. It's going to be a battle of the force buys, as the boys from Dynamic, they're going to be running up short. Nexus is going to take first contact, but he's peppered down a bit through the smoke. But 11-6 is the score, and Dynamic, they're trying their best to not let this game run away from them.
Yeah, but this force buy could be the beginning of the end, right? Lose this 12-6, save in the next 13-6, and that's going to be a very tough comeback to make on the T side of Overpass against a very well-oiled Goliath. Nexus doesn't land the instant frag, so he gets taken down as Goliath just continue to chomp away at the bit here. Dynamic just trying their best with these little gimmicky, positions, trying to find a frag for free, but they're already 2 players down now. What do they do from here? I mean, trying to get into the B-bomb site is tough enough, let alone when you've got weaker weapons. The flashbang's going to come through. It blinds up Massacre to Confection, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. Just holds down mouse button 1, picks up a double kill, a cool $1,200 as well. And Goliath could actually keep all 5 players alive here, as the man is left by himself, just sitting in the cubby, hoping that somebody might cross his path. But it's not looking likely right now.
Ooh, Kanye seems to know.
Oh, okay.
He was pre-aiming.
I see you.
Respect.
12-6.
But yeah, 12-6 on the board. And that play through Monster wasn't a bad play. I mean, in an alternate universe, Massacre's full blind. He doesn't get any on the spray, and you have an Avenians winning that round. So that's just unlucky from Dynamic. Yes, they lost the 2 opening kills. They found themselves fighting from the bottom in a 3v5, but now they find themselves half the score of Goliath. 6-12 is the score, and it's a full Glock round coming out from Dynamic. Padding the stats is what Goliath are going to try and do. The question is, who's going to entertain this Glock train running up lowers? It is going to be Kanye. He gets something done. He's got 2 already, 3 on the spray transfer. He's trying to get the 4th done, but he can't get it done. Zip, he's going to come and zip up the round with 2 of his own. 13-6 is the score. And now it's Dynamic coming in at the buy.
I love that moment though from Kani, just like after he gets each kill, he fades back into bathrooms and he's like, you can see there's like split second where he considers like, should I re-peek this? And he's like, yeah, wait, they're saving. Re-peeks, get a second. He goes back. Should I? Yeah, I'm re-peeking. Third. Should I? Yeah, re-peek. Yeah. And he's like, just keeps on going back and back. And eventually he gets burned, but not before he could get the 3-piece. And he knew he had his teammate there to trade him out regardless of what happened. So 13-6, we head into the first full gun round here in the second half, Nick. And it's a great start for Goliath. Zip just gets flashed through the smoke. He gets 2 kills. Adara gets 1 as well. And it's the crunch coming through from Goliath. No, not the crunch from KFC. This is the overpass crunch. And it does a lot of damage.
I remember speaking to Mistim about his overpass, and he says, "Give me fountain control, and you lose the round." As a CT.
Oh yeah, no. So but you've seen how he does it literally at the start of every round. He pushes long, and he's like, "If you're not contesting me, I'm gonna keep pushing."
Yeah, so that's something that we saw that round. Like, yes, Zip got 2, but then Adara just barrels up long, gets the 3rd kill with the player not looking the wrong way, with the player not looking the right way, and pretty much solidifying the round to the most part for Goliath. But Dweezil is not having any of it.
Yeah.
Any of it. He takes down Massacre. Now it's a 2v3, which makes the round a little bit more doable for Dynamic, but it's now a 2v3 and they're fighting from the bottom, but they can still get something done. 40 seconds left on the clock, and they're going to be hightailing it up towards long where the early engagement did take place.
You can see Goliath not giving them an inch though. Kani is literally rooted in bank right now with the AWP holding a very passive angle, so he's happy to give up the bomb plants at the bare minimum, play for the retake, while Dynamic are pushing their way up long right now. Nexus and Dweezil leading the charge. The information is there for Goliath, so they're going to be starting to rotate accordingly. Bomb plant will be secured at the bare minimum. The nade though could take on Nexus, doesn't even matter because Kani with the AWP gets the wall bang, but Dweezil gets the trade. He nearly catches Adara pushing through the smoke as well. Oh man, I get Adara's logic there. He wants to try and trade out his teammate, but I feel like it was probably a second too late for him to get the trade, so probably would have been a better option to wait for his teammate. In the end though, he does get the frag, and GG's are called, but hey, that's for Goliath. No BM, no BM.
Yeah. That's Goliath gaming.
Exactly.
It's definitely not good game. But yeah, I agree with you. Maybe that smoke push was a bit preemptive, but we spoke about the confidence that's going to be brimming in the TeamSpeak server right now.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That definitely came through. Adara's just like, boys, I'm going in. He wins out the gunfights, and 14's posted for Goliath against Dynamic 6th, but they are still buying back into this. 14-6 is the score, and this is Goliath's map pick, rather, for those of you who are joining us late. This is the first map of the series. Winner of this find themselves in the online Comic-Con. Top 4 is where they find themselves, and the loser of this goes down to the low brackets. But both these teams are in the top 6, so they're definitely in the conversation.
But both of these teams also expect to make the top 4, right? So it's not like one of these 100%. Teams have already made the run that they wanted. Neither of these teams will be happy with a top 6 placement. We saw Dynamic said that they want top 2, and I'll let you in a little secret. ADM said that they'll accept nothing but an event win. So, I mean, surprise, surprise, right? Obviously, when you're the second best team in the country, you're not going to be content with remaining the second best. You want to be the best, and the only thing better than second is first. So there we go. Dynamic with it all to do right now on their T side. They've been able to keep all 5 players alive, but they've expended a heck of a lot of their util to get the positional control they have. At least they're super far forward towards the A bomb site right now, and Dweezil catches off Zip. Now it's only Kani towards long with the AWP. Let's transition across to him because Auto Director clearly doesn't want to see what he has to do. He's waiting for some support to come through as well, and his time is limited as that smoke will be dissipating very soon. But ADM has been able to get into position to try and take off some of the pressure, some of the stress, but doesn't make much of a difference. The AK's reigning supreme. Divo getting the job done. Adara able to pick up 1, but the trade was there. And Dynamic win the all-important 7th and get themselves the 7th round. Still though, a massive job to be done. They have a big mountain to scale, but we know that all big hikes start with the first step.
Start with the first step and the man buying a galil. So yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind, that the economy damage that Goliath are implementing on Dynamic, even when they won that round, they're still not in the best spot. But Goliath, they're confident enough to bring out the double AWP setup. ADM and Kani, they're one of the 2 best AWPers in the country, and Ballistic, I'm pretty sure he'd be primary AWP on many teams, but Adara is going to take Heartbreak. I mean, Heartbreak is going to take Adara out rather early into the round, and once again, Dynamic, they're utilizing that AWP to good effect to find these opening frags, but pushing the issue was Dweezil trying to get something done, but nothing. He's going to fall back and play the mid round with a 5v4 man advantage or Dynamic.
Yeah. Double AWP setup in play. We spoke about it before this game. ADM and Kani, probably the most prolific double AWP setup in South African Counter-Strike right now. And look at the setup on the A-bomb site. There's only one player here for Dynamic, or for Goliath rather. It's Kani, and he's not in the position. Oh, it's not Kani. That's a number 9. That's Zip. He's sitting behind the corner right now, and he's going to have a job to do as 2 players start making their way forward. Do they check this corner though? That's the really important consideration right now. You expect them to, especially considering they throw the low smoke. The man's actually even going to flash the angle, and he takes Zip's head clean off. That's a good start as they get a 2-man advantage. Yeah. That's the life, but it makes sense, right? I mean, imagine you had a one-shot headshot rifle on the CT side, and look at the fake coming through from Dynamic. They've completely sold Goliath down the river, and they're going to have no choice but to save. They still have the double AWP set up, so they don't need to be forcing the issue here. They've got plenty rounds to play with.
Yeah, just the life of a CT player there, right? With the M4, the inferior weapon. I mean, the man did have the Galil, but the unahead armor, so it's pretty much a fair trade in that regard, but... it's a catch-22, right? The way the CTs play. Like, yes, you have to pay more for a molly, you have to pay more for a kit. The M4 costs more, but you get the additional bonus of holding the choke point, so you get that sort of advantage running into the round. So
yeah,
it's the life of a CS player playing CT, but
I think CT would be like I see a lot of people saying, like the M4, why is it not a one-tap gun? It should be just like, no. Like CT side would be so much easier if you had that ability to just land that one shot with the headshot and get the frag. So it's definitely a differentiation that needs to be a part of the game. So Goliath, at least they do lose one player there after the bomb was planted, but the double AWP setup is kept in play. They're going to save here, but that double AWP alone could be enough to get them across the line. Dynamic, we saw them as slow starters in the first half, slow starters in the second half again, but they have found a couple rounds here, Nick. They're going to have to string a few more together, and Kani blinded up. I don't know if he just got his vision back in time,
flash.
or what happened. But in the end, he picks up the frag, and he's hanging around for a bit more. He's able to take down Nexus. He goes for the re-peek, and that was ill-advised. Certainly biting off a bit more than he could chew, and he leaves his teammate in a horrible position. Zip just trying his best to get back onto the bomb site. Support is coming through from Goliath. They're trying to make their way towards A as quickly as they can. Where's that extra AWP? It's ADM. He's rotating up. Other than that, it's just USPs for Dynamic to contend with. 3v3.
There's no ways Dynamic loses round, right?
I mean...
Like, there's no ways the pistols overrule them.
No, but they've got the AWP on ADM. That's the important consideration. And now that he's taking down Divo, he can refocus his attention towards toilets. And they actually can't get onto the site because of that AWP. So now they have to reconsider their options. And they're just going to be going straight down lowers onto B. Has he? He is. He's in heaven. And he's watching the cross
posted
from short. Surely Dynamic are aware of this possibility, right? And they just let the smoke bloom before they cross, and that's exactly what the situation is. So they're going to secure the bomb plants, and the 2v2 should be going Dynamic's way from this point, Nick.
I mean, it should be, and for my sanity, I hope it does, but this fading smoke towards heaven means that... Oh, Massacre is going to catch Dweezil.
Not like this,
double scoped or something.
Oh, no.
Like, I think Dweezil was scoped, or maybe double scope. A tap on the bomb is going to force the issue from the man. He's made his position known, but full blind, a good flash. He's going to be able to take these duels. He knows that it's probably going to be a 10-second defuse.
Oh my
Just sticking the
God.
bombs. Massacre and ADM takes the man out. The man can't be the man in this round. He gets taken out, and that was a full eco for the most part. Just 2 AWP saved, and the double AWP is being able to saved into next round. 15's posted, and now Dynamic, they left scratching their heads, and that's just an unluco round for Dynamic. But just Goliath, the AWPs being so mobile, getting things done, double kills on both of them, on Kani and ADM in that round, and ultimately just a great round coming out from Goliath. 15-8 is the score, and Dynamic, they need a couple more steps in this large mountain to climb. They need to post 7 in a row to take this map to OT.
Whew, this is a big ask. We know that Dynamic would have certainly realized that Overpass was always going to be a grind, but they've certainly been dealt a lesson. One thing I do want to touch on, Nick, have you noticed how effectively Goliath have been using their timeouts? This is the 3rd timeout they've called, and it's pretty much always been after a round that they've won, so it's not like they're using their timeouts in a desperate fashion where they need to try and figure out what's going wrong. They're just keeping everybody cool, calm, and collected, and it's not something I've seen much of from Goliath before, so I wonder if this is also something new that we're seeing because of the coach that they've got.
I think that's definitely something to keep in consideration, right? Like maybe they do some sort of setup in this round. We just see 3 players going over towards A and pushing the issue towards short. He's being able to drop the bomb, but Heartbreak's going to try to press the issue, but Massacre takes him out, and now it's the man on 4 HP and his 2 teammates, Nexus and Dweezil, trying to fight back from a 3v5 turned 2v4. So now Nexus and Dweezil, but it's close to the smoke. Is that Nexus? It's Dweezil. He's being a weasel in the smoke, takes out Massacre. Now but the bomb, they spotted the bomb in short, right? Yeah. So the B bomb side is where the bomb's going to be planted, and it should be a 2v3 post plant for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, do or die right now for Dynamic to see if they can keep themselves in the fight.
Oh.
ADM with the orb takes down Nexus, and now it's all on Dweezil's shoulders. The bomb's not even planted for him, right? Oh, it is actually, excuse me. So there's a hope and a win right now for him on the round. He's going to spot the first player. He sprays him down. The bomb has been tapped, and he does a huge amount of damage to Adaro through the smoke. He continues to rattle off a few more shots. They know exactly where he is. There's a flash as well, but Dweezil making this as difficult as he can right now. But Adam's AWP is on point. Once again, he secures his teammate. He keeps him alive. He covers him adequately. And Goliath Gaming doing the most on their map pick.
Goliath just being the Goliaths they are. They finished the first map 15-8 in very convincing fashion. So
yeah,
now we're jumping into map 2. I think if you're Dynamic, you scratch the first map, it's not your map pick. But now it's into Verdes.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at some exciting times. Verdes a bit of a ballpark pick, a bit of a rabbit out the hat. So I want to see what Dynamic have got in store. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they've got.
You and me both. Let's just quickly break this down. I mean, Overpass, we started off with Goliath running wild. They picked up that 7-0 start on the T side. And, I mean, from there, we were already like, okay, I mean, this could be a quick game because Dynamic, you can see Goliath had pitched up and Dynamic were struggling to deal with it. However, Dynamic actually did turn things around and they showed some life on their CT side. They won those 5 consecutive rounds, but then Goliath shifted it up a gear. They switched from playing defaults to going to a bit more to their set pieces, and from there, the rest was history. In the first half, they closed it out 10-5, and they got off to a great start on their T side as well, and or rather on their CT side. They'd done more than enough work. That AWP setup, that double AWP setup from Kani and ADM came into effect just as we expected it to be. Both of them were hitting heavily throughout that first map. But like you said, Dynamic, they're going to just scratch that one off the list. Yeah, they would have been a bit disappointed that they couldn't have made it a bit closer. But moving on to Vertigo, that's where they're going to be putting all their stock.
Oh, that's where we're going to see the juice. I mean, Frozen just said it in chat himself. He said that they beat Goliath during regulation in leg 3. But one thing to keep in mind is that was with the sub that Goliath played. I think that game was like 16-13 or something along those lines. But I know Goliath, they're fairly confident with their Vertigo. And I don't know how Dynamic are feeling coming into this. Obviously, they have to be pretty confident themselves.
Yeah.
They're going to pick it into a team like Goliath. So I think I'm going into this game with a complete open mind. I really don't know what to expect. But I'm still going to stick with my 2-0. I'm giving you a chance to change yours. Maybe you want to come to the dark side, select the 2-0 victory with me as well. But I just think what GG I've got on the roster in the server, I just think, I don't know if Dynamic have chance, but maybe I'm going to be eating my words at the end of this map.
I'm going to go ahead and say Dynamic win the next map. Screw it. I'm putting my neck out there on the line. I think they've been grinding really hard on Vertigo. We saw that there were moments as well where all 5 of the players pitched up on Overpass. They just weren't able to string it together consistently enough. So the pieces are there. Are they going to be able to do it? Well, we're going to have to wait and find out, guys. Thank you so much for joining us so far. This is the Telkom VS Gaming Masters Season 5 Championship Elimination Bracket. We're in the upper bracket right now. Whoever wins this game reaches top 4. They qualify for Comic-Con Online. Whoever loses is dropped down into the lower bracket where they'll face Sinister5 tomorrow night. So that's all that we have right now from you and I, Nick. We're going to be taking a short break, but guys, don't go anywhere because I have an interview with a very special person coming up next. His name is ADM and he's the IGL of Goliath Gaming. ADM, you guys topped your group in the group stage, which is I'm sure exactly as you guys would have anticipated to be the case. Looking back on the group stage, you guys happy with your performance?
I mean, we could have won a few games a bit more cleaner,
Okay.
but overall, we satisfied with the first place. That's all that's all that matters. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the one game that you did drop a map in was the game against Energy. You guys, you cleaned house on the first map, Inferno 16-6, and then heading over to Nuke. They got off to a really good start on the first half, and you guys were making that comeback, and you nearly got through, but they were just too far ahead. So that was the only map you guys dropped.
Yeah, I remember this map because we previously, like maybe a week before, we worked really hard on our nuke. Like
Okay.
we spent like 6 hours the day before the game dog finals. Like we spent so much time on our nuke, trying to improve it. And then we took a week break after that game dog finals, and that was the first game back. And I think all the theory that we went through on our CT side, it just like went out the window. We couldn't remember anything. Rotations were really bad. We didn't like have confidence to go for opening kills, and yeah, we just outplayed ourselves on that CT side. And then yeah, we had a good comeback on CT on the T side, but
Yeah.
it wasn't enough.
Yeah, so you won 7, drew 1. As you said, you topped the group, which was always the goal because you still went into the second stage with that first seed. So it didn't really change anything drastically in the large scheme of things. So let's head over to that second stage, the championship elimination stage. Your opening match was against Royalty. You guys had a super easy game there, 16-8, 16-1 on Dust to an Overpass. You guys, obviously, I mean, you would have expected to get the win there, so that was fairly stock standard sailing for you guys.
Yeah, we kind of took Overpass as more of a, I don't know, we just ran a lot of our stuff that we could practice. So we took it more as a practice game, and when Dust 2 came as well, we took it as the same. Like we just did a lot of our defaults, and it's just worked really good for us. Can't complain about that game at all. Everyone showed up on our team. It was flawless from our side, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like let's not get it twisted, right? Royalty is actually a solid team in the grand scheme of things.
I said on Twitter a few months ago, I think they have a lot of potential now. We saw that upset that they had versus Sinister5. I don't think it's any surprise that they do have that upset potential. Yeah, they're definitely a promising squad, and I've given them a lot of advice and spoken to the IGL. I think his God's not dead at the moment. I'm not too sure, but yeah, they have a lot of potential, and they can definitely be a really good squad. Who knows in the next tournaments? I don't know. I think they got eliminated from this one.
Yeah, they got beaten last
but
night. Yeah.
I don't think anyone should count them out. Like they're a good team.
I think they also just need a bit more time together as well. Like they've made a few roster changes over the past few months. So like I agree, the firepower is definitely there. So the fact that you beat them so convincingly was quite impressive. So then that moved you guys on into the next round of the bracket. You guys are playing against Dynamic tonight. It's a big game, Adam. You know, it's the two of the top teams in South African CS, and the winner books themselves a spot at Comic-Con Online. Like it's the shortest route you could have gotten to the event as well.
Yeah.
You guys going up against them tonight, how are you feeling about this match?
We're feeling super confident. We pretty much, I've spoken to our coach. We know exactly how the veto is going to go. We're just going to play our game, and again, they're a good squad, so anything can happen. But I think we just played 2 practice games now. It went really well. So I think as long as we just keep calm, collected, we play our own game. I think it'll be a clean 2-0 for us. But yeah, anything can happen. It's CS. So
okay, but you guys certainly expect to walk away with the win here.
Yeah, we do expect to, but at the end of the day, they have, you can say, the Man, Divo. Those are players that if they show up, they can really like swing the game in their team's favor. So anything can happen. But yeah, we do expect to take this game 2-0, clean maps.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you guys are also like, you know, it's not like you've got that mentality. It's like, yeah, no, we've already won this game sort of thing, because you know that the threat is there.
Yeah, we're definitely not walking into this game thinking it's going to be easy. We can just play like deathmatch style. Like we're not doing that approach at all. We're definitely going to play full serious, full tryout mode, and play our game, go through the notes that our coaches made on DNMK as well. So yeah, we prepared for this game a lot harder than maybe people would expect us to.
Okay, I'm really glad to hear that. I think that's important. So let's talk about a bit more the grand scheme of things here coming into the event. Pretty sure I know the answer to this already because I just know the type of individuals in your team. What was your guys' goals and expectations coming into the stage of the event?
Honestly, our goal is to win the event. It doesn't matter how we win the event. Like if we play 80k in the winner bracket final or whatever, and we lose to them and we meet them in the final again, that shouldn't change anything for us. We just want to win the event. It doesn't matter how we win. If it's all overtimes, if it's all the full 4 map distance in the best of 5 with a 1 map advantage or whatever, it doesn't matter. We just want to win this event, and we're gonna do whatever we can to. When Trevor joined, we got theory done for 6 maps. Then having an analyst from Europe come and assist us as well. It's been working really well for us thus far. So, I mean, we haven't scrimmed 80k once since I don't know how long now, so I don't think they know how we're going to play. Obviously,
Okay.
if they've been watching our previous games,
Yeah.
then that's obviously going to give them a sense. But in the server, it's going to feel different to what they
Yeah,
can see in like
sure.
the spectator. But yeah, we're looking forward to this event. This is definitely the way we view it. It might even sound a bit arrogant or whatever, but if we win this tournament, it's definitely going to trump everything that ATK has done this year, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's 100k for first place. It's fine that they've won all their 20k comps, whatever, but this is the big comp.
Yeah.
And
So
from my experience, Trevor, myself, and definitely the rest of the GG core, when it comes to these big events, we all play a different level of CS. So yeah, I think they need to be prepared.
yeah, I agree with that point that you make about like this is where it matters the most. Like this is the biggest event of the year so far, biggest prize pool. You know, it's the Telkom VS Gaming Masters, which in South Africa has always just been considered one of the biggest events on the calendar. So I agree, this is like when they need to show it the most, and that adds a bit more pressure. And you guys have had some time
Definitely.
now with Kani as well. You guys have been together for a couple of months, so I'm sure you're feeling like a lot more comfortable than what you were a couple
100%. And
couple weeks
also
ago.
all the defeats we've gone through has definitely made us grow a lot more as a team. And we feel like it was very necessary to get to the position where we are.
Okay.
So yeah, we're feeling very, I wouldn't say overconfident, but we're at a nice level of confidence. Like we're approaching every game like a really good mental state. The vibes in the team are really good. Yeah, we're looking
Awesome.
forward to it, dude.
Okay, great. Adam, before I let you go, there's one more thing I want to ask you about, and you touched on it a
Sure.
couple minutes ago. You guys have got a new coach / analyst from Europe, and
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, he's from Iceland, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Lives in Poland at the moment.
okay, how did that come about?
So we just had a meeting the one day, and we just decided we needed some more experience to come help us in the team, just to assist us with our own individual mistakes, help us analyze our opponents, and just help us practice efficiently as well. Because I feel like that's something that we get a bit carried away with in scrims sometimes. So we kind of just helped asked a European coach to just come and help us in
Okay.
pretty much all the aspects that we needed assistance in.
Awesome. That's great, man. I think it's actually something that I talk about quite often. This is how like South Africa can solve the coaching drought. You know, no one really wants to be a coach in this country. Everyone wants to be a player. So you know, look abroad, go international. I mean, I think there's actually 4 international coaches working with local teams at the moment. So that's great, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, Adam, thank you so much for giving me some of your time this evening, man. Is there any last words you'd like to get out before I let you go?
Just good luck and fun to the DNMK guys,
Yeah.
and hopefully we can both show some good CS for the spectators.
Exactly. That's what we're all wanting, man. I'll see you in the server this evening, and best of luck for your
Sweet.
game.
Thanks, Matt.
Luck,
Take it
Adam.
easy.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Telkom VS Gaming Masters Season 5 matchup between Goliath and Dynamic. We just came off the back of Goliath convincingly winning that first map 16-8, and now we just got to hear what ADM had to say about how things have been playing out. Nick, what do you think?
Look, one thing he picked up on, I'm not sure how familiar you are with basketball, but they said now at this time of the year, they're playing different CS. So the one thing that stuck with me from that interview was exactly that. Like when LeBron comes in, like arguably the GOAT of basketball along with Michael Jordan, like that's a completely different conversation. But he says when playoffs come, he's a different human being.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing from Goliath and the boys, that they're saying that now when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, and they're going to be giving themselves 110%. They're going to be playing better than they ever had the whole year. And I agree with him 100%. If they win this tournament, I think Goliath, they can be seen as the best in the country. They showed up when it matters most. They beat them in a BO5. So I think it's definitely going to be another rank that could add to the discussion of who the best team in the country is.
Yeah.
If they win this tournament where it matters most, then you could definitely argue it for Goliath's case.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It definitely does like increase the stock in the conversation. I do think it would be like a bigger win than ATK have had throughout the whole year, but I'm not sure if I'd go as far as to say it like that would straight up determine, unless they beat them in the winners bracket and the grand final. Then it's like, okay, that's a BO3 and a BO5, like that's fairly convincing. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. And Nick, my God, we are rambling. The pistol round has started. It's a disaster. Get these men on screen. Oh no, you hate to see it. Nick,
Massacre just got 3 as fast as possible.
oh,
so, I mean,
apologies everybody.
like,
We
that-
just
like It just happened so quickly, so...
Thought we had a bit more time there
Pepper
to discuss exactly what we were expecting, but unfortunately we missed the pistol round. So Goliath get off to the start they would have hoped for on the CT side, and that's not ideal considering that this is Dynamics map pick. Of course, you're not going to be living and dying by the pistol round. That grenade though, certainly going to be determining a few individuals' life or death. Although the Glocks and the Desert Eagle are able to get a bit of damage done. This is a full save for Dynamics, so if they could get another kill here, that would be a pretty good start to the round, or to the map rather.
That will be a pretty good start, and I'm keen to jump into some Verdies. We haven't seen Verdies at all in the games we've casted. I'm pretty sure it hasn't actually been played throughout the brackets. I'm subject to correction on that, but I'm excited to see it come out. We don't see many teams in South Africa really putting in the miles on this map. They teams just go back to first banning a Vertigo, and they're not really putting in the work for it. But I'm excited to see it come out. There's teams that clearly have been and definitely going to show, and tonight is definitely when it matters.
Yeah.
One of the most times. Like if Dynamic have
Absolutely.
been putting in the work and they show up on the server, we're definitely going to see what they got in store for us.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of an anomaly for us to be casting Vertigo. I think it's actually the first time you and I are casting a Vertigo game together, so let's have at it. So I'm certainly looking forward to it. It adds a bit of spice. It's something different, and as you said, teams have been straying away from it because it was the newest map coming into the pool, and it just generally had a bit of a bad rep. So teams started playing Nuke because, well, you can't permaban 2 maps, right? So they had to play Nuke, and now we're going to be having a bit of a skirmish towards the ramp area at A. And frags go traded 1-for-1, but look at the position Kani's already been able to get himself in. Nick, I do feel sorry for you because you've got the stock standard map to try and work with, whereas I've got the split. I've got way more information than you do, so I'm keen to see how you make it work.
Yeah, I'll be saying they're flanking, but what Diver is doing is he's diving in, headshotting Massacre, so now it's a 3v2 situation post-plant. On the A bomb side, has been planted for ramp. Diver has planted the bomb there, but Nexus seems to have Kani's number. The rotate from Connector. He takes out Kani, and now it's zip left. In a 1v3 situation. MP9 in hand. He does have a molly and 2 flashes, which does allow him for possibly flashing out some angles, but it looks like he's just going to save the util, the armor, the kit, and the MP9 into next round. Maybe even salvage a better weapon.
So obviously the biggest talking point on Vertigo is A ramp. That's like the part of the map that everybody wants to try and get control of as early as they can. Not in the round, but in the half. If you can boss that fight and you can start forcing your opposition to change the way that they're approaching A ramp, you've already won, like in inverted commas, you've already won a mini battle. So that's something I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. Dynamic in the gun round, they're actually able to take full control even while Goliath were contesting it. And that's certainly where we're going to be seeing majority of the rounds play out. You know, like the A bomb side is incredibly more popular than the B bomb side is on this map.
Yeah, especially because it's quite easy for an AWPer to just post up on B onto the stairs, and without a good flash, then he's just going to pick you off one by one when you're running up there. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. This A ramp control is going to be a theme throughout the half. You're going to see the man drop that smoke pretty much every round. That's going to extinguish the molly that's shot.
Oh, man.
But actually, the man, he's just gonna take out ADM early in the round. 4v5 situation. They found themselves in 20 seconds gone. And I agree. Yeah, as you said, the A ramp control, it's going to be. Pretty much every round you're going to see players go that way of the map, throw a deep ramp smoke, throw those couple smokes to extinguish mollies, flash over for them to peek. Diver plays that perfectly, turns to the flash, gets through. But yeah, this was actually a force fight from Goliath and Dynamic. They seem to have them in their pockets.
Made it look like an anti-eco.
Yeah.
And I like that Dynamic actually just hold their horses after they get full control of ramp. They don't just continue charging onto the A bomb site. They actually they get passive, and Goliath start wondering, I mean, are they all still there? Can we potentially re-aggress and maybe get some counter frags? But no, they just walk back into the AKs. And look at that aggression that came out from the man at the start of the round. They smoke off scaffolding, so that just means that he can't get traded out by a CT there if he has potentially pushed that side, if he's pushed skinny. And they just continue charging all the way, and they get the retreating CT. So nice aggressive start here from Dynamic. They've got naturally aggressive players in their team, but speaking of aggression, look at Goliath pushing middle with the USPs. Nexus has a job to do, and he's doing it perfectly. He's going to secure himself the ace. Quad kill with the AK, closes it out in style with the Glock headshot as well. Bratata is the name, CSGO is the game, and Dynamic, they get themselves ahead for the first time in the series, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, Nexus just padding the stats, getting the confidence boosters, and now we're seeing another full investment coming out from Goliath. That deep ram smoke gonna come in from Massacre. So once again, as we said, back to the A ramp they go. ADM's lining up this nade which lands just on top of sandbags, which does a decent amount of damage, and the man takes the brunt of that in the meantime, which makes these FAMASs and M4s even that bit more potent. And Adara is going to get up close and personal for a possible peek coming in, possibly accompanied with a flash, but this is an angle cop often held up for the walk up. But Nexus, he's found a hole in the defense. He's walked up middle, catch zips up looking the wrong way, and now Kani is being very wary about this position. He's going to be creepy crawling around towards the bottom of that position, but Massacre should be able to come help him out. He's going to take out Nexus. Now it's a 4v4 once again. Divo, he's going to creep up the ramp, but Adara has his number, and the early gunfights are pretty much being traded across the map, but Goliath finding themselves better off in the man advantage.
Yeah.
It's gone quiet. There's nothing. There's nothing that's been thrown. No fires that have been shot. No bullets that have been shot, rather.
Look at how
It's all
far forward
we're
Weasel
just
is,
chilling.
though. He's all the way up the stairs here already towards the B bomb site. I'm not sure if this is been documented by Goliath, although Auto Director doing its most to make sure we don't catch the action. Dweezil
Yeah, line up
with the
for
double
it.
spray down. Yeah, he looks to the kill feed. He sees he gets 2 kills, but he only saw 1 player. Nice little result for him, but still a job to be done. He goes down, and now it's on Heartbreak shoulders. Only 24 seconds left on the clock, and he's been heard out just in time. Adaro does the 180 swivel, and he takes down the flanker. So that's a nice little round there for Goliath to get back to winning ways once they get the weapons in their hands.
And an expensive one for Goliath. I mean, I assume Kani's got a... Yeah, he has an AK on the floor, but there is that MP9 on Zip, and another full investment coming up from Dynamic. Even if they lose this round, they can still invest into next round, and that's when the loss bonus starts building up anyway. So these nades are throwing out once again. It's very easy for those A-ramp players to finish the half with 300, 400 UD, just because of the well placements of the nades. Massacre's going to reply with another one of his own, but it's not going to hit home just yet. The man's going to flash for a peek for Divo, but once again, this abusement of middle from Nexus is going to try come out from him, but it is just going to look like it's going to end up being an A play. The smoke is dropped in response from Goliath, which allows for a much wider peak needed for Dynamic to take that fight over towards MBK, over towards the Shadow region. But it is just going to be a ramp control going the way of Dynamic early in the round. Not much util on the side of Goliath for a retake or holding off the A hit.
Yeah, and look at Nexus's positioning as well. I was just about to mention it. He makes his way up middle and he catches Adaro completely off guard. And that makes the A bomb side pretty difficult to defend right now because Adam, he's going to be being flanked momentarily. Well, as I said, that he gets taken down by Divo regardless. A bomb side firmly in control of Dynamic. Once again, they take control of ramp and they're able to turn it into an A exec, which has already secured them the round win. Goliath with no choice but to save their weapons. So this T side's gotten off to a good start by Dynamic. They've been tested a number of times and they've been able to stand up tall.
Yeah, 100%. And the way the buy rounds have been going, Dynamic are looking good. They look like they've put in the work, just as Nexus said. We're in for an interesting time, and we saw the Vertigo had a rabbit out the hat sort of pick. So now Dynamic, they're showing up, right? They've been looking good for the first 4 rounds that they've posted, and I'm excited to see what sort of other gimmicks they can throw in. But Goliath, they need to start coming up with a response. Yes, they won the first 3 rounds, or the first 2 rounds rather, than they responded with the next buy round after that. But now they've already called in the first tactical timeout, and you spoke to ADM prior to the game, and he said that they brought in this analyst from the EU region.
Yeah.
They theory ballpark the 6 maps that we're going to play, spoke about them, and we've definitely seen that in their results. They've been looking good. They've been looking real good. They just wiped the floor pretty much with Dynamic on Overpass. They got the 2-0 victory against Royalty in the upper bracket. So now they want to keep it as clean as possible. They don't want to drop a map possibly coming against ATK in the upper bracket final.
Yeah. I mean, that was the matchup that we all predicted to be in the upper bracket final, right? 2 of South Africa,
Yeah.
South Africa's 2 best teams ATK being the best and Goliath the second best. But you heard from that interview with Adam, they are doing everything they can to topple ATK. They're not starting to get really frustrated. They still have full belief that they have what it takes, and I do as well. Dynamic though, look at this aggression from them, pushing all the way up to B bomb side. Kani, he's trying to keep himself covered, but his leg is sticking out, and the man takes him down. Divo in support as well. It's Dynamic's 2 heavy hitters who are finding these opening kills, and they're just going to continue to charge onto this B bomb side. Dweezil continues to do the work. Massacre picks up 2, but it's of little consolation as the trade is imminent. At least Adaro has been able to take down Nexus lurking in middle, so that means he can now refocus his full attention towards this B bomb side. He's also got some util to aid his cause. Very low HP on Divo, and he could catch Heartbreak off here. He does indeed.
Now
it's just Divo left with 21 points of health. This is certainly doable. And you can see Adaro not at all aware of Divo's positioning as he just slowly clears out all of the angles, making his way forward. He has a smoke, but no kit. There may be one. He does retrieve it now. And he needs to work his way onto the site, and Divo catches him in transition. Notice how Divo timed his peak to perfection. He didn't peek at all while Adaro was pushing forward. Only once he had gotten into close proximity of the bomb, and he knew that Adaro's play was going to be to tap the bomb and then look for the kill. And that's when he peeks out. Not as he taps the bomb, just before.
Yeah, and we saw Dynamic that now they've gone to their B play. So now Goliath, they know what they're feeling with the A play and the B plays. So Dynamic, they're looking quite intimidating in that regard. They've won out both those early battles, but ADM's going to press the issue over towards ramp. It's just upgraded pistols, no armor on any of these Goliath players. But Nexus, once again, he's been creeping out middle every round, and he's been finding a decent job at it, right?
Yeah.
He's taken out Massacre, and it seems like this mid play from Nexus is something we're going to see quite often. He's tasked with this mid lurk role, being the IGL. He's not really having a complete field of view of the map, being in that lurk role, but it's definitely something that we see IGLs do sometimes. Not all the time, but it's sometimes that it is the case. But he seems to be doing a good job at it, fragging decently well, but Kani's going to take him out of this round, as it does just seem the bomb's going to be planted on the A bomb site, and it's going to, or B bomb site rather, and it's going to be 6 possibly to the way of Dynamic.
Yeah, should be 6, almost a guarantee at this point. I'm really liking the way that Dynamic are changing up their T side here, Nick. Nice shot from Adam with the Desert Eagle there, but it's just going to be a weapon saved here. I don't think they're going to be committing unnecessarily. Everybody likes an AK on the T side, right, or on the CT side, right? But Kani lingering around perhaps a bit longer than he should be. In fact, ADM's charging forward here as well. Do they want to just try and get some damage done here, economically speaking? They are hanging around. But just to go back to what I was saying, I'm really liking the way Dynamic are approaching this T side right now. They're not like just sticking to what's working for them. They're constantly changing it up and being very difficult to read. Not just taking that fight towards A ramp every round and relying on that to get them across the line. They're changing the pace, they're changing their approach, and it's looking really solid from them. You can see how hard they've been working on this T side at least.
Yeah, we're seeing really Nexus's words come to fruition. They said they've practiced. They said Goliath don't know what they're in for. And Dynamic, they've already posted 6 to Goliath's 3, but it is going to be another buy round from Goliath. I think it's still a bit 50-50. I don't think it depends on who you ask whether you say Vertigo's a T-sided or a CT-sided map. I'm more of on the T-sided sort of spectrum of things. I think it's easier to work the map on the T side, but that's a whole conversation that you can dive into. But it's actually Zipzip picking up the AWP, and he's going to open up the round into Nexus. That's an interesting pickup.
Hey, I mean, Zipzip was an AWP a couple of years ago, so it's not unfamiliar territory for him. In fact, so was Adaro, so was Kani, so was ADM, so there's no shortage of AWPers on the side of Goliath, but what they have done is they found these opening kills for the first time, and they've gone untraded, so a nice advantage for Goliath in this round. A bit of a commodity for them, I would say.
Yeah.
Heartbreak yet to find his first kill here, which is a bit uncharacteristic of him, but the thing is his team's winning 6-3, and that's what matters the most, is that the team is ahead. You never want to be focusing on your own individual score. It literally does not matter. The only score that matters is at the top of your screen right now. And that's actually something I want to talk about a bit more once we have a bit of a break or something. So remind me, Nick, because I will forget. Zipzip flashed off the angle, so at least Weasel's been able to take middle control. That's the first objective that's been achieved for Dynamic. They're playing with 2 players down right now, so they need something to go their way. And Dweezil's going to be dropping back middle, going down the ladder, and potentially trying to join up with his teammates towards the A bomb site, which is actually up for the taking right now, because there's a player towards Heaven, And then there's a player sitting on the box, or rather in this little cubby on the left here. So how do they approach this? It's Adam, he's getting aggressive. He decides to just straight up push forward, and oh my god!
Oh,
That second shot was too sexy.
That's he turned into Scream, Rip Scream. I mean, now he's gone to Valorant, but
Yeah.
we're seeing another buy round, so I'm not going to remind you just yet. I'll remind you when you find one of the teams in the ecos, but it's a double AWP coming out. Zip Zip and Kani.
Okay.
Interesting.
Not something that
I
we
mean, the
actually
double
see too often on Vertigo, is it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to comment. Like, yes, you can use the AWP over towards middle, but it's quite often just used to anchor the B bomb site, or which is exactly what. Ooh, Kani, heartbreak. He's lucky that there's a little wall there, but ADM you may have overextended a little bit, but Adara's going to come help him out, and now it's heartbreak already on 16 points of health and Dweezil on 76, but okay, Adara's going to come back from more. Yeah.
Yeah, notice the trade game there from Goliath. Like, in both occasions where the AWPs were taking the fight, they had immediate backup there from the rifles. So even if they missed their shot or they got overwhelmed or they got one and then there was a push that came through, like, there was always that extra cover on the table. So that was some really nice teamwork coming out from them. Very low HP on the two remaining players here. They only have 21 health between the two of them. So going to be tough for them to make something further happen in this round. I mean, they might even consider the save, Nick. I think that's the right call because when you look at their money, the three players who are dead right now have enough money to buy up in the next round. So these guys can just take their weapons into the next round, forfeit the round here from this point, and have a full buy in the next. But it seems like they're going to be thinking, yeah, they just want to pop on B.
They're not saving. Yeah, and they are going to not have a great time, to say that. Ooh, that's a nice smoke, actually. I don't know, you could smoke construction from B ramp. That's nifty.
Yeah, you need to get like a really high trajectory, actually, I think, from the stairs. And there we go, Nick. I was right. Why didn't they listen to me?
So you wanted to talk about, what did you want to talk about? I can't remember.
Well, what I wanted to mention, because we were talking, I was just making the point about how players get too caught up in their own personal performance. And I mean, like, I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter all the time as well. It's like, oh, thanks to my team for carrying me. I was nowhere tonight. I'm so glad we won. It's like, bro, it actually doesn't matter if you played badly, if your team won. Stop bringing that negative energy to life, because you should be focusing on the fact that you got the W. It doesn't matter that you bottom fragged or that you didn't get all the kills that you needed. If your team is winning, that's what you should be focusing on. And I just see it way too often in the South African scene with the tweets where it's like, oh, I performed like trash, thank God my team, they carried me. It's like, dude, you're actually creating like, like mentally you're putting more stress and pressure on yourself than you need to, and just focus on the positives. So that's something that I've been wanting to mention for a while.
Because at the end of the day, as long as you did your job for the team, then that's all that matters. Like, if you're an entry fragger and you struggle to get a kill every round, but you run into the site, you pinpoint where all the enemies are, and your teammates come and trade you, then even though you didn't get a single kill, the impact you had was off the scoreboard, and it was perfect. But we're actually seeing Dynamic fully invest into this round. There was just the Heartbreak on, the Tech 9 on Heartbreak, rather. That was the only thing to go down so far in this round, along with ADM's AWP, but there's going to be the air bomb site that is going to be tasked, so...
Yeah, retake going to be tested.
100%.
Oh, the backstab from Nexus! Although he overextends, he never needed to take that second fight with Zip Zip. If he could have just purely stayed alive in CT, he would have been a living nightmare for Goliath. Now they take him down, they can refocus their attention towards the safe bomb side. As the util starts to rain in, they're forcing these players further and further back, but the first defense does come through as Dweezil takes down Adara, and that's when Divo chimes in as well. Nice decision making there from him, but Kani lands the lightning fast AWP shot. Now he just has to contend with the man who's playing behind sandbags. He spotted him, and the man is giving him absolutely nothing. As another tap comes through, he just swings out and finds the kill. Cool, calm, and collected head on his shoulders, and Dynamic get back to winning ways.
Yeah, now if you look at the economy of Goliath, it's not looking great. I mean, for the most part, it's fine, but ADM, he's going to either be on an MP9. Actually, he's been dropped an M4 by Adaro. So they pretty much coming up with the full buy, Zips up on the FAMAS. But the same can be said about Dynamic. I mean, whoever loses this round, they're in double eco territory. Which means that whoever wins this round more than likely wins the half, but ADM's going to be pushing this. This is the first time we've actually seen him done this. He shoots at Heartbreak, he gets blind, he was like, okay, must have killed him, he fell back. But Kanye over towards middle, he's going to get double peeked. And he's going to be able to fall back. And Dweezil, he's being a weasel in the same B ramp smoke, rather. He's going to catch Zip Zip, and that is the B solo player. And Dweezil seems to have an idea of this. Just flashing, showing some presence, putting some rotates. but not entertaining the prospect of hitting the B bomb side are Dynamic just yet. Mid control is going to be attempted by Dynamic, as Massacre is going to be sticking around, but Adara, he's going to try to press the issue once more towards ramp. If he peeks us, he does not only find a possible frag, but also much needed info in this regard. There are 3 T's congregating towards the B ramp, and he's going to be able to clear up the A ramp, which will allow the rotates to come in just in time for this B hit to come in. But ADM's pretty much in no man's land. He's behind double. He gets taken up by Dweezil. As Nexus takes down Massacre elsewhere in the map, and out to Daro and Kani. Kani's chimed in with one of his own with the AWP. He's holding for an overextension over towards the left side of railings, but it's just a 2v4 retake. And if you're Goliath, you should possibly think about saving this, but Kani's going to get some work done. He's got his third of the round. Oh, and he takes a Nexus. Oh my days, Kani! Oh, I need a breather. I need a... What?
What was that third shot? Like, the first 2 were nutty enough. The first 2 were not... His crosshair wasn't even on him, Nick. That must have been a flick through the smoke. A player he didn't even know he was flicking on. Kani is playing another game. I don't buy it. He's mental, man. That's Kani's impact, though. He has that ability to just go nuclear all of a sudden and just go crazy. He is one of those individuals who can just separate the 2 teams, be the difference maker. He's got such BMT as well, and he just has such a knack for Counter-Strike. Like, he's just such a cerebral player. I actually can't sing his praises enough. What a fantastic round. A 4v2, bro, that they didn't even lose another player in. That could be
I didn't say anything there. I was just reporting Kani for cheating. So yeah.
That could be a back-breaking play. Even though they're behind, like, that could be the round that allows Goliath to start pulling ahead once again. That's a tough one for Dynamic to swallow, because that was almost a done deal. It should have been 8-5. Heartbreak's still yet to find a kill here, Nick, in the second last round of this half, the penultimate round. And they're saving. Dynamic gonna try and muster up a bit of money in the bank. The man, how did he, oh, he went for the full investments in this round. Okay, so I guess he only had like around 1,500. He decided he's not gonna be wasting any time with the full eco in this round. And look at how far forward Dynamic have actually been able to get towards this B-bomb site. They're going to be charging forward. The flashbang's on point. Zip gets taken down. And Dynamic is just going to continue to surge into this bomb site. But Kani picks up where he left off. He has them on lockdown. Support's coming through as well. You just can't stop this man with the AWP right now. Adam has responded as he gets himself into the bomb site as well, dealing with these eco players. Only Nexus is left line with the Take 9. Let's see if he can bring a bit of magic of his own. For a second there, I thought there was actually a chance for him to pull the rabbit out the hat, but Goliath drawing level here once again. 7-7. Nick, if Goliath can finish this as an 8-7 halftime scoreline, I think they're going to be really happy with how they turn things around.
I'm still trying to process what Kani just did.
You just but restart yourself, Nick. Just do it, bro.
Yeah, but
off and on again.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, you find yourself 6-3 down, and I think if you're Goliath, you're even gonna take an 8-7 deficit going into the second. Ooh, that's an interesting wall bang.
Hey, puppy.
Ooh, okay. Both these teams have been. I want to see that. That would be a clip that's YouTube worthy. But
yeah.
Dweezil's gonna be pressing the issue, and now he knows that there's 2 players over here. He's gonna get one and get out, and
that is
very important. Like he doesn't overextend. He just gets one, gets the man advantage, and Nexus just mid issue once more.
I do like that Dweezil has the confidence to get ahead of the smoke like that as well and put himself in a position to deal with the aggression, and then as soon as he gets the frag, he drops off. Nice play there from him. As Adam has a bit of an excursion towards Skinny, looking to see if he can find one of these T players. He's actually going to regress now, hoping to catch them off guard, and he does take down Divo. Heartbreak is in close proximity, so the trade is immediate. And now it's a one-man advantage for Dynamic. Where do they take this? Most of their players are towards ramp right now, but they still have pieces elsewhere on the map, and Nexus's patience pays off as he takes down Massacre. He has been having a field day towards middle. If you want to learn how to play middle as the T player, like in your team's default, download this demo and go and watch Nexus. The way that he's been changing his pace up, Nick, and working off of his teammates, it's been fantastic. There's been such good communication from the players on ramp and Nexus at middle, because you can't be pushing all the way up middle if they don't have ramp control, if they're not forcing the issue at ramp yet, because then obviously the CTs are going to be fully prepared for it. So it's all about that give and take. And Dynamic have displayed it fantastically throughout this half. They're going to be closing it out 8-7. And I think that's a nice mental advantage for them, because if they'd gone down, if they were behind going into the second half, that would have been a tough pill for them to swallow.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if you're in the Goliath camp, you're definitely going to be looking at getting this pistol round without a doubt. Massacre's actually dropped over a P250. That is going to go on towards ADM. So there's a smoke and a flash. That smoke is going to go over towards the A-bomb site, along with a flash to accompany it. Bit of a util set for the pistol round players out there, but it is going to be the A-bomb site that is going to be tested, as the man is going to be the one trying to ward off this hit, but he's going to get caught looking the wrong way. ADM's going to chime in with one onto Diver in the meantime, and Kani's going to take out Dweezil to the smoke. It's like, this man doesn't see smokes, he sees opportunities. Titan is that you. Zip's going to get the bomb planted, and now it's a 3v3 post bot. There is still that kit on Nexus though, which is something to keep in mind.
The man and Zip, a very important duel. Whoever wins this is probably going to be securing the round for their team, because now Zip stays alive and the defuse becomes near impossible. ADM, well, yeah, we normally see a touch of class when the P250 is in his hand, but this time he just goes for the body bang and he destroys his opposition, or his opposite number in that case. So Goliath, they've won the second pistol round, and then now won both pistol rounds on this map. They draw level. And this is looking like it could be a 2-0 from this point. I know it's quite early to say, because we haven't seen what Dynamic can do with the weapons in their hands in the CT side, but just considering the fact that Goliath are looking as good as they are right now, I feel like they can get across the line alone on their individual skill, and just considering how good these players are looking, it's going to be tough for Dynamic to contend with, especially considering that... Yeah, nice little swivel there from Zip. But especially considering that Vertigo is predicated on a lot of individual fights, right? Especially towards like ramp, those gunfights are very valuable. And then you think about middle as well. It's just like, who's landing their headshots? That's probably the team who's going to win the map.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Dweezil's going to try to be a weasel in this round. He's actually going to catch a couple players looking the wrong way, so he could be good for 2. He's going to let them line up.
Oh no!
Oh no! The dink!
He even did the right thing. He even did the right job, which was to take down the player who's the more difficult frag first, and then switch across to the easier guy. But he gets betrayed.
Oh, the 5-7. Imagine he has a deagle there. He gets 2 very easily. He knew the other player was coming. 180s. You know,
I thought the 5-7 was actually a one-shot headshot kill when you were close enough.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
Maybe I think he tagged him for 92. I think he tagged ADM 92 there, so maybe it was just out of range. But I agree with you that the individual fights are definitely going to be something to look out for. And the man was going to be looking to win out one of his own on Sukani. There is some armor on these pistols. They can be quite potent up close and personal, and it's exactly what Nexus and the man are predicating throughout this round. ADM trying to push the issue over towards B, a molly towards default and a flash to accompany it, but up close and personal. His heartbreak with the deagle, a bit of a spam, but he gets 1 in the meantime, and now his job is to stay alive. But Massacre on the flank, he's good for 2, and ADM, Kobe's heartbreak, and just like that, it's Dweezil left in a 1v2. He does have the salvage Mac 10, and he does have a flank in the works, but ADM seems to have been reading Dweezil's jungle.
Okay, Dweezil. I mean, his spidey senses got activated there, Nick. I was about to say, Adam, how big is your brain actually to be ready for that fast flank? But in the end, Dweezil shows, hey man, I still got a bit of a brain on my shoulders here, you know, and he does go all the way back. So what is going to be his entry point here? He goes all the way back up ramp onto the A bomb site. So either whatever option he goes with here, it's not going to be easy. Mac 10, so you'll certainly be going for this. Even if you can get a frag, an extra $600 would have a bit of an impact going into the next round, economically speaking. But I don't even think that's going to be offered up to him. He gets taken down by Adam, who's had a fantastic game, must be said. You know, he is the IGL for his team, and he's one of the heaviest fragging IGLs in South Africa. I think between him and Mistim, you wouldn't like outright say that they're the IGLs, because they are always putting up the numbers as well.
Yeah, 100%. And usually people attribute the IGL role to someone who doesn't statistically frag, which you understand that because their mind isn't on their fragging potential. It's on the team, how the team's structured, how the mid-round calls are going to go. But ADM's definitely one of those players where, okay, the man just Kobe'd Kani. But ADM's definitely one of those players where he's still able to micromanage and call a strat, and he's still able to get 4 kills, 5 kills in a round, which speaks a lot to his character as well as how he feels confident in his own shoes. And we definitely see that in the server. He's definitely one of the people towards the top of the server. Pretty much 9 out of 10 Goliath games you see. He's very consistent in that regard. But in this round, it's a bit of a different issue. Kani has been dropped early, so the opening man advantage goes the way of Dynamic once more. Similar to what we saw in Overpass, they were quite good at converting these sort of rounds. But the problem was when they weren't able to get the opening frags, then what? Then you left scratching your head. But now we're in a different map. Oh, Heartbreak takes down Adara as the B hit seems to be the play.
Yeah, support's already there for Dynamic. They've got the 2 players on this B bomb site. Make that 3 as the next one's rotated in as well. So they've telegraphed this execute from Goliath, and they're ready to welcome them with open arms. It's just about whether Goliath can land some nutty shots to try and get themselves into the bomb site. But they're even being flanked out here as well. I'm not sure if they're going to be expecting this. They're all just trying to get a few frags towards this B bomb site. That's when Dweezil's able to activate. He gets himself 2 kills, and now it's just Massacre left. They know exactly where he is as well, and he only has 30 seconds left to try and make this one work. He will take down Nexus with the HE grenade, and now he has a few options available to him. The one thing about Vertigo though is you're pretty much always in ear's reach as to what sort of information you give away, and you can hear. That's why Dynamic are immediately rotating across towards the same bomb site, and Divo's in position to deal with him as he comes around the corner. So Dynamic find their first round in the second half, and because of the damage that they actually did with the pistols, Goliath can't buy up in this next round even though they won 3 consecutive rounds. So this should be Dynamic drawing level here on Vertigo, Nick. And this is exactly what we wanted, right? This is way more closely contested than what Overpass was, and you can't predict who's going to be win from this point. At least not with much assurance, because anything can happen from this point. And look at the aggression from the pistols, forcing Heartbreak all the way back. He's lucky to still be alive, and he does spot Kani off.
Oh yeah, and he takes down Kani in the meantime, and it should be 10-10. But with that being said, you never know, a couple of deagle shots go your way, but yeah, I agree with you. It should be 10-10, and we should see Dynamic start to mount a comeback and build up the bank. They need to try and make this as clean as possible. I know I sound like a bit of a broken record when saying that, but I'm just emphasizing how important the fact is that when you're facing these anti-ecos, you have to keep it as clean as possible. You have to start building up that bank so that you have that fallback when you face the buy round of the T's. But Heartbreak, he's actually going to get Kobe down from that early dink that he received from Kani when Kani tried to push the issue, but ADM, Kobe's him out. So now the T's, they're grouping up, but there is this fast flank coming out from Dweezil. He does have the FAMAS, but his legs have been spotted out. So now they know that the A bomb site's possibly a way to go. The man takes out Maska in the meantime, but now it's a 3v3, and there's only a single rifle salvaged, and that is on Adara, and that is a FAMAS.
And this is what I was talking about, how you can pretty much always hear what's going on because of the close proximity of Vertigo, and that's why Dynamic are aware that the execute is coming towards the A-bomb site. Divo's able to pick up 2, and the man closes things out, so little to no trouble there for Dynamic in the anti-eco round. It's going to be a double save though for Goliath, I'm sure. I mean, they could go for the buy here, but I think it would be ill-advised. It's not necessary to try and force the issue as early as they have. They could here. They won't have much util. They'll get the AKs and the Galil on Kani. But like I said, I think they go for the savior and they make sure that they've got full util. They have the AWP if they want that as well. But that could also be allowing Dynamic to get ahead as well, and that would be a nice little mental victory for them. So that's exactly why they've called the timeout, just to try and figure out what the right approach is.
They are going to eco. And I agree with you. I think forcing into this is not really that great of a play. So they are just going to choose for the upgraded pistols, which can be potent up close and personal, especially when they're backed up by some armor. But last round, only 2 Dynamic players staying alive, so that's why their money's looking a bit on the edge. Dweezil and Divo are the only people with above $1,000 because they were dropped rifles the previous round.
Yeah,
so
good point, Nick.
That is something to keep in mind for whether they do lose the round or make the round as competitive as possible. There's going to be a B rush, so it is Nexus and Heartbreak trying to tone things down for the side of Goliath, but low HP Ardara and ADM. Nexus should be able to clean them up relatively easy. He gets 3 on the spray, zips up with the 180, takes down Nexus, but the man cleans out Massacre, and that's pretty much the anti-eco that Dynamic wanted. Only 1 man falling, and now it's a full buy coming out from Goliath. Another timeout.
You think Dynamic are breathing a bit of a sigh of relief after that one? I mean, that could have gone either way pretty quickly, but they make it look easy. And more importantly, they keep 4 players alive as well, so that's going to bode nicely for their economy, giving them a bit of a buffer. But as you say, another timeout being called here by Goliath. That's been a theme throughout this entire series so far. In fact, have we even seen Dynamic call 1 timeout yet in this match? I don't think we have, Nick. I can't remember one.
We have.
And I think this is Goliath's 5th in this match alone, so They called 3 on overpass, and this is their second year on Vertigo, if I'm remembering correctly. So definitely been a theme for them, just using their timeouts as efficiently as they can. It's going to be AKs across the board, full utility, and this is where we're going to be seeing what Goliath have in store on their T side of Vertigo. They've got everything that they could hope for right now. And if they lose this round, it's going to be a bit of a blow, because then that dynamic get 12-10, probably 13-10 with the back of the eco if there's no bomb plant, and the game could start to get away from them. So big buy round here for Goliath.
Big buy round indeed. Nexus, he's tasked with holding down this. Nexus and Dweezil rather, but ADM's going to try to press the issue. Fading mid smoke means ADM's caught in the open. And I'm a big fan of what Dynamics just did there. They worked up with that 2 mid setup so that if one player fell, he could be traded relatively easily, but they went out that opening duel, dropped the molly, which denies the trade, and fell back as soon as possible. So they've got the early man advantage. Yes, they've conceded some info in that regard, but the fact is that you find yourself a man up, and you're still doubling up on this mid position. Very easy to rotate towards A, towards B. The rotates on Vertigo are relatively short, but Canny's going to try to push the issue over towards Skinny. He takes down Divo and chooses to not fight or more than he can chew, but the man is going to do exactly that.
Oh no!
Try for more, but that is exactly what Dynamic didn't need. They just gifted Goliath this an avenue into winning this round.
I mean, you can't blame the man for considering the re-aggression there, but it just works out completely against him. However, Dynamic do still have 3 players towards the say bomb site next, so they have the pieces in place to deal with this aggression, and Goliath are indeed going to be committing. They've got all 4 players from their side over on the side of the map as they start to take control, but looks like there's a bit of a switcheroo going on. Dweezil actually gets a knife kill on Kani, but that's pretty much all it's going to be for Dynamic in the round, as Heartbreak is left by himself.
I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, extra $1,800, you're not going to be scoffing at that, but the fact that Goliath were able to get the kill and not too much damage was done in the long run, they'll be quite happy about that. What happened to Heartbreak's weapon? Can we just discuss why he dropped his M4? Anyway, he does have a smoke and a kitchen, Nick, so I mean, he could look to try and make this interesting. He's got a skirmish going with the Daro, but Massacre repositions himself. Nice little movement there from him just to get on the edge of the smoke. And the all-important round win does go the way of Goliath, Nick, and that's after they lost ADM in middle, so it's quite impressive the way that they were able to reconcile the situation and still make something work. Now they've been afforded an anti-eco, so this game is as close as you like.
This game is as close as you like, but I don't think Goliath are aware that Dynamic are going to be on an eco. I mean, they could have invested into this round just as easily as they could have saved, so pretty sure the same protocol is going to come out from Goliath once again. They take ADM over towards this mid position, but it's actually going to be a Massacre fighting through the stairs. He takes out Heartbreak, reduced damage on the Kalashnikov bullet. Zip is going to zip up Nexus's body bag in this round, and also going to try his best onto the man, but the man's going to double dink ADM, but he's going to finish off the man in the meantime. So now it's just Dweezil and Divo in a 2v4, and it should be a free for Kanye. It is, and Dweezil, being the Weasel he is, he's found himself in a 1v4 and trying to not concede the round advantage to Goliath Gaming.
Yeah, for sure. Goliath want to make sure that they don't drop any further players here as well. But I love the setup there from Goliath in their anti-eco, right? They just cover all of the entry points. They sit super passively. They sit really far back. They preempt aggression, and they punish it as it comes through. So you love to see it when the T side plays nice and patiently in the anti-eco rounds, and they don't make any brash decisions and try and be super aggressive. Dweezil, though, might be able to take a fight show with Kani, and there we go. There's that one-shot headshot coming through with the 5-7, but surely he can't get much more done now that they know where he is. They're going to continue to force the issue here. He's got an AK, but tries to drop a smoke. He gets caught with the nade in his hand, and that makes for an easy kill. 12-11 Goliath. 4 rounds away from securing themselves a spot in the top 4. Remember, guys, this is an upper bracket semi-final match. It's everything to play for right now. Winner secures themselves a spot at Comic-Con Online. Loser drops to the lower bracket where they'll face Sinister5 tomorrow night for that last spot at Comic-Con Online.
And both these teams are definitely in the conversation for the teams to take those top 4 spots. But a missed AWP shot from Heartbreak means he's going to fall to Adara, and that's a bad miss. I think Adara actually got run boosted there because he took 23 points of health. What a great play from Goliath. I highly respect the run boost. And as soon as that first kills come in, early utils rained out from Goliath, and they're just going to show some presence, draw some rotates, and absolutely cancel on the hits itself. Just trying to bleed out util. I'm massive fan of this. Oh, Diesel.
You're absolutely right though, Nick. That had to have been the run boost, but we'll talk a little bit more about it, why that was so effective as Kani trades Diver out towards middle, and now he's looking to try and get the backstab going into this B bomb site. That's why Nexus has to reposition himself, and this is when the players need to be starting to push up the stairs and trying to create a bit of aggression, but there we go. As we see it, Zip does come forward, he finds the frag, and that's the one-man advantage now in Goliath's possession. And they're going to continue to force Ishia towards B. They're not slowing down, they just want to ride the wave. Nexus though has a sneaky angle here, he peeks out and he gets a double spray down, immediately gets the one-man advantage for his team, and now it's left on Adam's shoulders in the 1 versus 2. And he's just going to be continuing to, no, it's the bait and switch. And you can see that Dynamic are considering this because they're not hearing any further footsteps. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Adam is re-exploring towards the B bomb site, where Dynamic have actually relinquished control. They're now just sitting at the exits, just passively waiting. They're saying, we'll give you the bomb plant. That's the last thing on our minds right now. The all-important round, they just need to get across the line. The question is, how far forward does Adam go? Did he spot him there? No, I don't think he could have seen him. So he just drops the smoke, secures the plant, and now he hears the footsteps of both of the players. How does he make this work with the AWP? He misses the first shot. That was the shot that he needed to land to try and secure this round, because now both of the players are on top of one another, and they're giving him no chance to 2 1 versus 1s. Well played by Dynamic to just completely smother him with the AWP.
Well played, yeah, 100%. But Dynamic now, they're going to have a very tough buy coming into the next. The same can't be said about Goliath. They've got everything. They've got all the bells and whistles they want into the next, I assume. I assume Kani is probably just going to go into a Galil of his own. Zip can drop an AK. I'm pretty sure they're going to reinvest into this.
Looks like they might actually be going for a half buy here. Maybe Zip dropping a couple pistols. But if they're going to buy... Yeah, they are going to just half buy.
Okay, Massacre's on the AK and Adara on the Galil, which is still a very winnable round considering the players that have the rifles behind them. Don't want to discount them by the very least, but again, a very important round that Dynamic just won out. And
oh, Jesus.
Kanye doesn't even need an AK.
That's
He's just
disgusting.
got the pocket rockets.
That is actually disgusting. That was an
Oh, he almost gets 2?
That was an AWPer holding his angle, man. Oh, that's an unfortunate volley as well, and that might cost Dweezil because the double peek is coming through from ADM and his teammate, but ADM, he gets left high and dry as Massacre decides to abandon. I think it was Massacre. It might have actually been Adara with the Galil, I'm not sure, but regardless, 4 versus 4 is the result. And I like this decision from Goliath. They're going to just try and push up ski onto the side. The problem is they don't have any util to aid their cause, and Dweezil, he's on the angle, ready and waiting, lines them up, knocks them down. It's going to be the triple kill, easy as you like. And Divo closes out the round with the AVP. So, Dynamic, again, they pull ahead, Nick. It's 13-12. They're 3 rounds away from taking this to Inferno. We're going to be seeing another full buy from Goliath. And these guys have been trading rounds back and forth like it's an STD. So, certainly not convincing, discounting Goliath as yet.
Yeah, 13 solves the score, and Dynamic, they found themselves in a pretty good spot. I'm pretty sure the emotions in TeamSpeak are high, so... But again, they're going back towards this ramp control. We haven't seen it often coming out from Goliath on their T side. They've more just been relying on the defaults and the opening picks, but be there as it may. Ramp control awarded to Goliath. And it's just going to be Heartbreak soloing this B-bomb site with this AWP. Such an important round.
I was literally about to say that, Nick.
Yeah.
Literally about to say that, and Goliath, they've actually gotten quite far forward up ramp here, relatively undetected, and it seems like Dynamic are playing for the retake. They're not playing any forward positions on the bomb side, and normally when you play this far back, you expect to get smoked off and then just commit to the retake. And I'm pretty sure that's what the plan is here as Goliath start to take control and the rotations come through. But they cannot discount Kani, who is got that late lurk in middle. That's a big spray through the smoke as the kill comes through for the man, but he's going to get traded out, so it's still a 4 versus 4 regardless. And this is where Kani is looking to activate, and it seems like Dynamic have discounted the option. Nice shot there from Nexus. They're going to have to do some more though. They need to try and get on the sites as quickly as they can to try and negate the impact that Kani's going to have on the flank. Dweezil takes down Massacre, and now it's on Zip. He just needs to stay alive as long as he can. Kani with the backstab. He's got them lined up. He takes down the first 2 players, looking for the third as well. He's done so much damage already, but the bomb is still ticking, and Nexus is going to get on the defuse. 2 seconds remaining. Kani takes down the first. He forces Nexus off the defuse. He actually gets the clutch. Oh my god, Trevor. You can't do that. He is mental. He is mental. Oh my word, Nick.
What? That's the second time he's done something nutty.
I'm broken. Nexus let go of the defuse. Why did he let go of the defuse, Nick?
He had like less than half. I don't even know how much he had left. Like, surely they.
You gotta stick that. Oh no. Is that a game-changing play, Nick? How do Dynamic come back from that? How do Dynamic sustain that 1 versus 4 blow? Kani with the most insane trigger discipline. You could see it in his eyes. You could see it in his approach. He was always going to be winning that.
Now we're already seeing Dynamic make so many mistakes. We've never seen Nexus preemptively push like that. The man was on no man's land towards ramp. They had a one-man push over towards Skinny. And I don't want to predicate a possible Dynamic loss over one mistake, but it looks like they're just going to snowball off of that because they've just lost three people in the round for pretty much no reason at all. Like, yes, they've taken down Massacre. That was Diver that got that frag, but it was just one and done plays. And now it's 13-13. ADM's pretty much going to get a free kill on NBK onto Dweezil if he didn't spot the top of his head.
Yeah.
Oh no, so Dweezil gets a free kill, but they're just going to NB, so...
Yeah, shouldn't change the round that much at the bare minimum, but Dynamic still certainly have a hope in this round. Dweezil actually with another kill coming through with the quick response. This is doable all of a sudden. The fake plant though comes through from Adaro, and he's just going to snap up both of those kills. He says, Kani, you've done enough. You know, don't worry, I got this one under control. Oh, man. I mean, Massacre's got 24 kills. Kani has 23. Let's actually get a quick look at the scoreboard here before we jump into the round. All of the Goliath players are fragging right now. Most of the Dynamic players are fragging, but just as you mentioned, Heartbreaks, he's really struggled here on Vertigo. He struggled to find his footing on the T side. He struggled to find his mojo on the CT side as well. I mean, look at Nexus, Dweezil, and Divo. I mean, they're all in the upper 23, 24, 25 region. So they're fragging, but, you know, that's only half the job. You know, fraggings don't result in a map win alone. So glad we got a timeout here, Nick, because I just need to catch my breath again, man. I think I woke my neighborhood up as well with that one. Hey, if they weren't watching the game, it was their fault, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now they know that they need to tune in now, so come on. One job. But it's an eco from Dynamics, so they're conceding themselves map and series points, and that's Adara going to get the run boost again. Let's see if it works out. Will it work out? Yes. There he goes. Okay, he lands, and he spots out Nexus as well, so they know where he is. Nexus is living on borrowed time at this stage, but it's an eco. There shouldn't really be much out of us.
I mean,
Dynamic, they've conceded series points. Yeah, they are. That's a good point.
And it seems like Goliath might be going there. So I'm not sure that as time progresses, Dynamic second guess their decision. It was just sort of a preempting a rush, and now they're going to realize that they do need to start making their way towards the speed bomb site because the push is coming through from Goliath. They thought better of it, and it's cost them in the long run because now they don't have the numbers on the bomb site to deal with the hit. But Heartbreak, my goodness, he makes it look so easy with the USP. That silencer aids his cause. And now we're in a 2 versus 2. The man and Dweezil task of trying to get this eco round across the line for Dynamic, but Zipsa blinds them up, takes down Dweezil. They now know where the man is as well, and he still only has a USP, so this should be a done deal. And it is. 15-13, Nick. Goliath have got themselves to match point here on Vertigo. If they win this round, they are going to be qualifying for Comic-Con Online. They'll be the first team to do so, and they'll be dropping Dynamic down to the lower bracket where they'll have to face Sinister5 tomorrow. Or do Dynamic have the fight yet left in them? Do they have the ability to pick up 2 further rounds, take this game to overtime, and then fight from there into the third map? We're going to have to find out. It's the all-important round right here, right now.
It is too, and it's the ramp control once again coming out from Goliath in this round. And Dynamic, they're not entertaining the cause at all. They don't have the util to do so. They don't have the util to molly them out and nade them out of the sandbags and scaffolding respectively, or construction rather. So they're just completely giving up this position on the map, and they don't really have util in the retake either without a kit. So if you're Dynamic, you got to go for an early pick. You got to go for a pick rather somewhere else on the map, maybe double push B ramp or something, because you playing a post plancher with pretty much no utility on the retake and no kit, you're left in a really tough position.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're just going to work off of this double Skinny setup, I believe. But they look like they're giving up the bomb site once again. But these 2 players over towards Skinny, they're pretty much in no man's land. So they got to fight their way out of this. All 3 players are ahead of the smoke. Divo drops first.
Oh.
The man's actually good for 2, and Adara comes in with the trade. And now late rotate coming in from Nexus, but there's still
Dweezil.
a player. Yeah.
They don't expect him. There's no ways they expect him, right? Although Kani, he's actually checking it, he's clearing it, he's making his way forward, he's going to catch Dweezil off. The question is whether Dweezil's going to be taking down his teammates first. Yes, he finds the frag on Adaro, and now he makes his way towards Skinny, where he does get taken down by Kani. Elsewhere though, Nexus has been able to find the 1 kill. Now it's a 1 versus 2. Surely, Kani cannot do this again, Nick, and he does get taken down. 15-14, Dynamic 1 round away from taking this to OT. Goliath 1 round away from securing themselves a spot at Comic-Con Online. My word. I'm so glad that this is how Vertigo turned out as well, right? That we just had a very entertaining map in the series at the bare minimum.
And Goliath, they don't have the greatest buy. I mean, ADM, did he already throw all his util? Because, yeah, he's okay. They're just leaning back on this B aggro play, but Adaro, he's just being a pest over towards ramp. This is probably the first time in the half we've seen Dynamic take ramp control pretty convincingly, so the man's going to re-smoke bottom ramp.
Kani got super far forward, undetected as well, leading the charge with his Mac 10. He's trying to take down Heartbreak. He has done a lot of damage. Massacre's going to finish that one off. Now Goliath are looking to take control of this B bomb site. There has been quite a rotation though from Dynamic. They've got 3 players in the site, and you can see Goliath have made the call. They've made the read. They're rotating over to A because Adaro's pushed all the way up Skinny. He's taking full control of the site. All the information is there. He's taking down Divo as well. It's all unraveling for Dynamic. A 3 versus 5 for them to try and keep themselves alive. And Kani, he still resides in this B bomb site with the late lurk, looking to catch off one of the CTs. He spots Dweezil out. He just needs to keep him live here and keep him on this side of the map for as long as he can, because on the opposite side of the map, Massacre has taken down Nexus. The A bomb site now in control of Goliath Gaming. And ZipZip removes the man, so it's all on Dweezil's shoulders in the 1 versus 4. And he is going to go down as... He's going to go down as we expected in the end. Goliath Gaming win the match 16-14. They win Vertigo in the end. They secure themselves a spot at Comic-Con Online. What a fantastic map that was though, Nick.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we saw Dynamic. They really did turn up to the plate. Very unlucky from them. 16-14. We went the distance on Vertigo. But as I said, you know, I'm never wrong. I said it was going to be a 2-0 victory. Look, yesterday never happened, so GG's to Goliath. Basically played unreal Counter-Strike. Overpass, if we look back on it, played very well. The T play was extravagant in that regard. The CT setups were perfect. And over on Vertigo, they just won out the aim duels. They did everything to a T. Even going down 8-7, I believe the halftime score was. Yes, they ended up winning at 16-14 after winning the T pistol. Everything was looking up for the side of Goliath, and ultimately they found themselves in the top 4, and they're fine. They booked their spots in the Comic-Con Online weekend.
Yeah, winner bracket final solidified. And you can bet your top dollar
getting 7K.
They want that rematch against ATK. They want to prove. They want everything that they can to prove that they are the best team in South Africa. Commiserations to Dynamic, right? Because they brought that fight on Vertigo. Like, they actually looked really convincing in the most part. And you feel like if it was any other team in South Africa they were playing against, that would have been a win for sure. But that back-breaking 4 versus 1, you can't discount that when you consider how that map ended up playing out. That must have been a massive mental blow. In fact, I'll go as far as to say Dynamic probably win Vertigo if that 1v4 isn't won by Kani. So, like, it's crazy to see how those individual plays can make such a big difference in the grand scheme of things and just swing a complete game into the opposite team's favor. Another thing I love about CS, by the way, is just like how you can have those moments of brilliance which just swing a game entirely. So props to GG. They closed it out 2-0. First map was 16-8 overpass. They won that convincingly, but Vertigo they had to grind really hard for. Dynamic, they made them work really hard. They go down in the end. Now they're going to be going into the lower brackets.
Yeah, where they're going to face Sinister5, which is the rematch we saw in the first game of the upper bracket. So, will that result be the same? We don't know. We'll wait to find that out. But one thing I do want to ask, I see ADM's in chat, so hopefully he's still here. In the interview, he told you that he knows how the veto is going to go. So I want to know from his perspective if he knew that they were going to pick Vertigo into them.
Well,
that is
they even said it in chat because they were listening to the Nexus interview and they're like, wow, okay, surprise, okay, we're ready for Vertigo. So they called it straight away. And, I mean, it just showed that they had done their prep on the map as well. So I think ADM will say, yeah, they did expect the the Vertigo pick, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I mean, that's all we have for the evening. A fantastic 2-0 series. Goliath, they reach the Comic-Con Online event. They are the first team to qualify for that third stage. They're one of 4 teams who will be competing in that stage of the event. Tomorrow afternoon, we have ATK versus Energy. The winner of that game reaches Comic-Con Online. The loser drops down to the lower bracket where they'll play Online Kingdom, who have actually had a phenomenal run, by the way. They're also 1 game away from reaching Comic-Con, as are Sinister5. So those are our 4 teams remaining, looking for 3 spots that are left. One of them will be left disappointed. Nick, what a great evening we've had tonight. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Honestly, and the only way you guys are going to find out about how the results in the games pan out and watch the lovely South African Counter-Strike we've got on board is by following myself and Hayes on Twitter. It's at Hayes Castings and at Nick Bart. I almost messed it up again like I did last night.
That's okay.
And be sure to drop the follow on the Twitch channel to keep up to date when we're going live, when we are able to put on a show for you guys. Obviously, Dynamic and Goliath, they put on a show for you guys tonight. Goliath ultimately 2-0 winners. And GG to them and Luca to Dynamic. They still got that second berth into the lower bracket. So wish them all the best against Sinister5. But ultimately, just you got to give all the props to Goliath tonight. They played great Counter-Strike. They showed up on the servers. And they found themselves in the upper bracket, just as you said.
Well, that's it, Nick. From your mouth to their ears, that's exactly how the evening played out. I even posted the link to the tournament website as well, so everybody can see how things have been playing out. You can go back as far as the group stage. You can see how the groups turned out. You can see the championship elimination bracket, results, schedules, prize pool distribution. Everything you need is on that website. So that is everything from us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys all with us tonight. Same place, same time tomorrow night, and you're not going to be wanting to miss tomorrow's game either. Dynamic versus Sinister5. I mean, I'm assuming that that's the game we're going ahead and streaming because it's a rematch of the ages. It's 2 very evenly matched teams, and we've seen in the past how closely contested their games are. There's a lot of history between the 2 teams as well, so the storylines are prevalent. And yeah, that's it, man. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a good rest of your evening and good night.